Okay, 6 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. And first order of business, Dave Strauss present.
Larry Racine present.
Rosemary Wissenbeck present.
Vicky Kirkwood present.
Cody Wells present.
Scott Hillsman present.
Steve Regal, I guess I'm here.
You look like it. Okay, everybody's got their budget committee agenda package, right? Okay, first order of business is the October 22nd minutes. Everybody take a look, let's see if there's anything that you have any issues with. Heidi did a flawless job as usual.
She did.
Yeah.
When you get a chance, let me know if you're good with it. Today, the 19th, right?
Yes.
Today, yes, yeah.
Good.
It's good.
Vicky, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Scott, good?
Yeah.
Cody?
Yeah.
Reed, you good?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve the October 22nd minutes as written. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Those seconds it. All those in favor?
Racine, aye.
Wissenbeck, aye.
Kirkwood, aye.
Wells,
Hillsman, aye.
Regal, aye.
Strauss, aye. All right, Rose, it's even 3-0.
Oh, you did it.
Scary, I remembered. Okay, first thing before we get into stuff, we'll do, if you look on your agenda package, sheets 1 through 4, you're gonna see, much as I hate to tell you this, the DRA tax rate for December is $27.52, which is a large increase over last year, almost $3. And what I want to point out to this on page 1, that the town tax rate went down 13 cents because we were able to get rid of the Eversource overlay that we used for payments. So that luckily absorbed the town increase that we expected and gave us a little extra, plus also some revenues or more. So it was able to actually show a reduction of 13 cents in the town rate from last year. In the county, their bill went down 21 cents. The actual school increase was $3.17 a thousand. That's the actual school increase. If we didn't have those offsets, that's what we would have got hit with. So, just for information, you can look this over. Anybody, be prepared, the tax bills will be mailed out probably next week. Give people a heads up, just so they don't have a heart attack, as much as you can anyway. And obviously, the full increase is because of the school. And I will let everybody at the budget committee know, and anybody else who's listening, that the select board at the next Tuesday meeting has invited the school to come give a reason why the increase is so large.
And when is that again?
That, the meeting starts at 4:30.
It's a selectmen's meeting.
I'm sorry?
Selectmen meeting's Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yep, right here.
Are the people gonna know that, to be here for it? How are they gonna be made aware to be able?
It's already been where?
It'll be posted on the web and posted on the web,
You think
right?
everybody in the town goes on the website?
Oh, as far as taxpayers you're talking?
Yes.
No, the only way we get it out to them is we post it on the website, they
Website.
post it on the bulletin boards at the library and here, and then we let people know.
They're not, they're not mailing everybody in town?
No. That'd be-
No, you never have time to mail
Just
everybody.
I don't know.
No, that's, yeah, it'll be either, we could probably put it on the web, well, you have the agenda on the web anyhow. And,
The agenda will be on the web, but I could also reach out to Paul as well, see if he wants to post it.
Posting it at the post office and.
okay,
So, one thing I did was, I'm a nerd on this stuff, but these are spreadsheets that the school system puts out. I go through them every year to figure out what's going on, what, who, how. And we had a 14.3 student increase, which is huge for us, because we've always said $15,000 a student. Well, that has gone up because the school budget increased by $2,981,031. But there's some calculations in the spreadsheet that I've gone back and asked the Governor Wentworth Financial to give me a reason on how the calculation of one of these blocks work. Just because it's one I hadn't seen before and I'm not sure how they actually get the numbers in that. It's not coming up with the same numbers that I do, not that it's gonna change anything. It just at least we'll know how to calculate that block. I fully expect what they got in there, and what we see is what we're gonna get. And the one thing I wanna point out to you on the school thing is, on this spreadsheet, there's what they call credits. It's what we receive, there's a statewide property tax that everybody pays, and we get a credit on that because we're one of the poor towns. So we ended up getting $432, 2,000 plus as a credit. And then there's a grant that we get that is based on students, for far as adequacy of students, whether they're slow learners, they're homeschooled, not homeschooled, school lunch program. There's all kinds of factors that go into that on how much you get extra per child because of that. And they use that based on an old grant to figure out how much we get. We ended up with $1,055,000. So those are credits you take off of what we owe the school. So what the scary part is, the school right now is saying we owe them $681,850. That's what caused you your large increase. The credits went up by $144,000 from last year. If we didn't have those credits, that would be an additional $144,000. That's scary. I mean, we're looking at almost $850,000 that we would owe the school if we didn't have those credits,
That's an addition from last year.
in addition from last year. So there is some things, so I encourage everyone to please come down and have your things. And we all know the proportion formula is what causes, and you've heard me talk about this many times, causes our hills and valleys, because we're 25-75 since 1964. And for some reason, we cannot get the school board to form a committee to change the proportion formula, which will level out our payments. And it's been attempted many times from our town to try and get them to do that with no luck. But that's a major driver that needs to try and control some of these increases to cause us without these hills and valleys. So please attend that. I won't get into that anymore. I think you know my feelings on that. All right, if you could go to sheet 5 of your agenda package.
I'm worried about that .3 kid.
That's your dog.
He only went for 2 months.
Okay.
Graduated early.
Yeah, he graduated early. So this is a spreadsheet that I sent to all, that I do an Excel spreadsheet with the budget sheets that I put in, everything that's in there. I put in what the select board has preliminary approved, okay? So right now, if we approve everything that the select board has approved, level funded, same as what they asked for, and we level fund the nonprofits, the same amount that we did last year, which was $28,121, you will see circled down on the bottom, that would be a $66,924.76 increase over last year, or 31 cents a thousand. Our goal was to be less than 50. My goal now with the school is to be low as possible.
Zero.
It's not gonna.
But we all know the drivers on this, when you start looking at retirement, we start looking at waste, right? Insurance, all those have insurance, 9% increase. I mean, the retirement was a huge increase for us this year. And then far as what we pay for far as health insurance, I mean, those costs are astronomically increasing. Every year you have those, and those are factors that you can't control. So we're gonna see increases. So I think it's a good thing that we're only at 31,000. Now, this is not including warrant articles that are coming up, because we vote on those individually. This is the operating budget. And that's what we shot for, was keep it less than 50 cents on the operating budget.
What was last year's operating budget increase? 2020,
2,222,000.
yeah, but how much,
We came right at it
For 1,000.
48 cents,
on the operating budget, only without warrant
Yeah.
articles?
yeah,
So we're a lot less.
yeah. Yep, that's what you mean, how much per thousand, yeah. So any questions on what that means? So, I mean, I think we're, even with all the raises and everything that's came into play, we're still looking at 31,000, 31 cents a thousand increase if we approved everything level, and we'll be going through all those sheets next. Anybody have any questions on any of that?
Do you have an idea what that's gonna be with the warrant articles, assuming they're approved?
If, well, we can go,
What you know of?
I think what we'll do is we'll go through the warrant articles, and when we see a warrant article, we'll also discuss what would the impact would be. Impact would be, hey, Chris,
Thank you.
what the impact will be on that warrant article in addition to that, if we, or whatever we approve. And somebody remind me to make sure we do that, so we know what the impact would be, and see whether or not the budget committee approves that or disapproves that. Good question, Scott.
Thank you. Mostly because I've assumed that the target that we set for 50 cents a thousand always included the warrant articles.
Oh, you thought that?
Yeah,
No,
not just,
because the town approves it, so,
right, but we still kind of have to prepare for it, right? No?
yeah, but you never know what it's gonna be until the warrant articles come, so the 50 cents is what we can control as a budget committee, because all we can do on the warrant articles is say we agree with it or we disagree
Have
with
your
it.
averages been consistent though through the last 5 to 10 years?
No, on warrant articles? On the regular warrant articles they are, but not on what they call 4901s, which are additional warrant articles. Those could be anything. All right. Leo, anything? Good?
We're good.
All right, let's start into our, make sure I'm not forgetting something here. All right, before we start into our budget sheets, I'll remind everybody, we do one motion. We're gonna do the motion to approve it as is, we'll discuss it, we'll go over it. If there's any problems with it, we'll debate it and go over there, and then what we'll do is we'll take a vote on it. If it is disapproved, then we'll make a motion for whatever else we wanna try to approve that warrant article, that budget sheet for. So we won't have multiple motions on the table, we'll have one at a time. Everybody good with that?
Yep.
And the salary agreement, we're gonna be, that we talked about with, is in this package, we'll go over that later with the select board approval of the salary amounts. So having said that, we'll go to sheet 4130, which is executive, and we have Caitlin here, our town administrator. Thank you for coming, Caitlin.
Thought we're doing her last.
Okay, and that should be sheet 6.
Make you wait.
Sheet 6, everybody got that? Okay, now I recommend everybody get your budget to actuals. You keep your budget to actuals, you track everything with your budget to actuals like I told you. You should have the latest one on your table. Track that, and then we can have Caitlin go down through her budget if you want, just on things that have changed, Caitlin.
I was gonna ask that. Do you want me in the hot seat?
No, we can hear you there. As long as we can hear you, and I think with these new speakers, I
Yeah,
think
they
we
can hear
can.
you.
Okay. Alright. So, let's see. One of our decreases was the salary for assessing. Previous assessor was an 18-hour, actually it was 20-hour, 25-hour week. That dropped down to 6 to 12 hours, for 11,000. The financial administrator, the hours were upped on that. It was previously 24 hours a week. That went to 26, along with a salary increase. see. Support staff, we did add that in for 10,000 as we do have Heidi as
Did we make a
the,
motion to start this?
No, you didn't, thank you. I'll make a motion to approve 4130 for the select board approved amount, sorry about that.
nope, you're good.
Amount of $174,649.
I'll second.
Rose, second that, okay, sorry, go ahead,
No,
Caitlin.
you're all good.
We should've, thanks, Leah.
We did add the salary support staff, as I do have an assistant now, for about 10 to 12 hours a week. Increase in my town salary, the amounts you do see on these do include the 3913 rule,
Mhm.
so just that's aware as well. Website entry has been zeroed out. Telephone has been moved to 4194, which I believe is in your budget presentations today, so that has also been removed from this budget. Town meeting went to $1, and the only new thing that's on there is the finance software, as we're moving away from QuickBooks to G-Works. So that is now there as a budget item for the annual amount.
That'll be an annual amount.
Correct.
Does that have escalators in that, Caitlin, or is that set in the contract for 3 years for 95, or 1 year is, what's the contract with that for far as payment yearly?
The contract is it's $9,452, $9,450 if I'm correct.
For 1 year, or
That's the contracted annual amount.
For 3 years.
it's a 3-year
Before
contract?
the escalator,
So it does have an escalator built into it?
after 3 years.
After 3 years?
After 3 years.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm getting at, so that amount will be good for 3 years?
Correct.
Thanks, Chris.
Yes.
Thank you, Chris.
We did, we wanna probably talk on salary assessing, hiring Shelby?
Yeah, oh,
No?
Not my meeting, sorry.
Wait, Lou.
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so we do have a new assessing clerk, she started a few weeks ago, her name is Shelby. And like I said, she primarily will be working 1 day a week during tax time, that hour may jump, right now she's in training, so she has been here for 2 days a week, but that's why it's 6 to 12 hours. It's mostly gonna be a 1 day a week position for Tuesdays, but during tax time where questions may arise, she'll be here a little bit more, so that's figured into it.
Questions from the committee on, what,
Actually, yeah, I'm just curious, sorry, Scott. How many finance software programs did you look at, or how'd you come to that? I mean, I'm assuming that's a pretty big jump over QuickBooks, which I know isn't the best, but.
It is, so we are part of a financial group that's all over, financial administrators and town administrators throughout New Hampshire. There was one that did pretty extensive research, and we contacted the companies that we thought would be suitable. We did have 2 demos, one with MTS and one with G-Works. G-Works has been very responsive, their system seemed very easy to use on a daily basis, and they were the ones that we had chosen out of the 2 that did reach out to us for demos.
Thank you.
No problem.
any reason why the contracted services hasn't used any amounts? We still have bills outstanding that are coming in?
So the contracted services one, previously, I believe it was used for, back in 2023, if you look at the budget sheet, it does show that an amount was used. That was used for the architecture, the architect. In the last few years, we have not used it. But I'm not sure if there's anything that is supposed to be used in that item
We use
that we're
that,
aware of.
use that sometimes, I know on the road to get a professional, we've used that before that way.
Professional
Professional
services.
services is what it used to be before we changed it to contracted services.
That was Chuck.
Engineering was one of the things we used to use it for.
So we rolling that into contracts now when we do that?
Most times, yes.
So do we still need this amount? Chris, you think so?
I do, you take, for example, most likely that expenditure will be, for the architectural drawing of the fire station, police station building that we're proposing to bring to warrant, so that's one section where that could come out of.
That'll be this year?
Correct,
Okay,
because we have to have that ready for the bond council, for the warrant, to bring to the town people to vote on the town meeting, but that will be an expenditure this year. And then you take like next year, anything moving forward, on road projects, this test mooring that could be done. There's also
that's what I remember.
there's also the potential need for, and obviously, we got some big ticket items, but with, looking down the road, moving forward, something's gonna have to be done with this building. So if we have that, then we're already earmarked for services, contract services, we can, if we want to jump in with the planning board as far as the capital improvement plan and the master plan, we could possibly use that. There was things that the board of selectmen felt like in addition to this building or redo of this building or something of that nature, so that's my feeling. We have talked about that a little bit, but.
Agree.
Anybody have any other questions on that? At least now so we do expect to charge some of it, and the only other one I have is workshops. We're at 645 under, and we're still doing 1,000, is that because of the new assistant, Caitlin? That you expect to reach that?
So, not necessarily for the new assistant, but this year, we probably didn't attend as many workshops as we had hoped because of any type of scheduling conflicts as well as trying to, keep up with workflow. So I don't wanna, necessarily lower that one in case we can attend, like NHMA conference is one of them due to workflow and tax rate, DRA stuff. We didn't get to attend, and I know that one is a decent bill, so to speak. And I would like to attend that next year, so.
So it's others that you haven't attended that
Correct.
just didn't have the time this year, but you expect to next year.
Put a lot of workload on her.
Yep, I'm good with that. Do you have any other questions for Caitlin?
Thank you.
Hearing none. Motion on the table is approved 4130 executive for 174,649. All those in favor signify aye and nay.
Racine, yes. A.
Nissenbeck, aye.
Kirkwood, aye.
Wills, yes.
Those nine?
Regal, aye.
Strauss, aye. Thank you for taking your time, Caitlin, appreciate it. Get home to the kids
Kid. Like,
and your doggies.
The dogs count as kids.
They do.
good night.
Good night, thank you guys.
Good night, Ken.
Okay, next up, you will see sheet 7. I asked JT to come in and give us out some extra information we didn't have enough time at the last meeting, even though his budget got approved. These are things that we wanna know when we get into our public hearings and stuff. JT, if you could just go over that stuff.
Try and do something fancy here and we'll see if it works. No presentation for you.
21st century.
If the voice starts going away, just turn and look at this and we'll try to.
I apologize, yeah, I've had a little bit of a cold the last couple of days, my voice has been strong all day, but we'll see if it lasts through this presentation.
Well, I appreciate you sitting over there.
Just give me 1 second. to try and
Super Bowl parties
Yeah,
here?
what do we wanna watch?
Where's the popcorn?
Girls?
Two broke.
We already saw the Patriots game.
That wasn't a game.
We can watch the Bills.
Alright. We'll see how this goes. I'm not necessarily gonna go in the order of the document you provided, I've got some additional stuff as well, but it's all relevant to what you wanted to talk about with some of the longer term items that we have for the fire
We're
department.
covering everything that we asked though, right?
It will cover everything at a minimum, yes.
Oh, perfect, okay.
So vehicles is where I'm gonna start out. Car one is one of the vehicles on the list. We acquired a new car one earlier this year using an expendable trust fund. We were able to purchase a much newer vehicle than we had prior from the town of Madison Police Department. It was a vehicle they were retiring just because they didn't feel it was adequate for police use. It's a longer bed and things like that, so it was difficult for them to patrol in. There was nothing wrong with the vehicle itself, they just didn't like it.
How many miles on it?
When we purchased it, there were about 32,000 miles on it, we're currently at about 36,000 miles. You can see a quick photo of it there, it's currently not lettered, we do have plans in place to letter it, we're just waiting for the vendor, they're straight out this time of year, so. There will be lettering coming for the vehicle soon, but we're just not quite there yet. On the right, you can see a photo of inside the cab and some of the different equipment that's mounted in there. There's 3 mobile radios in there to communicate with various agencies around us, a light and siren controller, and on the top right, there's an iPad mounted in there as well.
Is that gonna replace the existing command car?
It did replace the existing command vehicle already. The former vehicle has been reallocated to the road agent.
What year is this one?
This is a 2021.
2021? Thank
Is
you.
this something maybe like that you take home with you?
It is, so this is a vehicle I take home and I'm gonna kinda go into that stuff now. I'm going a little more in depth with this vehicle because I want you guys to understand the concept of the vehicle because it is a newer thing to the town. So car one's a vehicle that's assigned to the chief of the fire department. It's outfitted to handle a number of different functions for the town. It is a vehicle that I take home and respond from home with all hours of the day and night. I do bring it to work every day as well, of course. It's not a vehicle that I use to go out to dinner with my family or to go grocery shopping. It is for department use only, but it does come home with me. As we saw in the last photo, it's equipped with multiple mobile radios that I can use to communicate with various agencies. It does have a mobile radio repeater installed in it as well, which allows us to boost our signal in areas that our handheld radios have poor coverage. We do still have a few of those remaining throughout town, and that allows us to boost that signal. It has a Wi-Fi hotspot in it, so in the areas where there's poor cellular signal, we can actually produce a Wi-Fi hotspot to allow us to operate the iPads and things like that that have some of the different tools on them. We can also use that for medical equipment, we can connect our cardiac monitor to the hospital, and should we arrive prior to action, we can actually send a copy of your heartbeat to the hospital and have them diagnose any issues you might have going on. It does have that iPad that you saw in there, that's a tool that I use for medical reporting, fire reporting. All my fire inspections are now done digitally, so there's a digital log of everything I'm doing for fire inspections with photos and things like that. That can be used later on, should I have violations, I can reference a past inspection and things like that. Should we get to the point of litigation as well, there's a really good log of everything that I've inspected in the past and the photos of what I've seen and things like that.
JT, all the stuff that we saw in your cab, was that in there, or have you added stuff yourself?
It's a mixture of both, a
Mixture.
lot of equipment came out of the old vehicle and got moved into the new one. There was some stuff that was left behind by the prior agency, the console that everything was mounted in, for example, was something that was left by them. So we were able to repurpose a lot of that
Okay.
stuff as well. So we didn't need to purchase very much equipment for this vehicle. There was some stuff that's vehicle specific that we needed to purchase, for example, a cap for the bed of the truck is on order. Obviously, with having an SUV prior, we didn't have a cap for it, so we have purchased some things like that out of the operating budget. But the vast majority of it was repurposed from the old vehicle.
Thank you.
What would you like in if it's not in it?
So I'm working on getting a command slide out tray for the bed of the truck. And this would encompass my command board, my radios in the back. So effectively, if you've seen fire scenes on TV and things like that, you see a chief standing at the back of a vehicle with all the whiteboards and the various mechanisms of tracking people, as well as the radios and everything to communicate with. That's something I don't currently have for the vehicle, and I'm looking to purchase for it.
Was it figured in any of your budget that you proposed?
It is, so I do have enough room in the budget next year to purchase that if needed, however, I feel that I might have enough left in the budget this year. I'm hoping to make a purchase prior to the end of the year, but we're managing that day to day and keeping an eye on the budget as we get closer to the end of the year to see if we have enough room.
I think I speak for all of this when I can say I appreciate that. Thank you.
Were there any more questions?
You're gonna ensure that Dave gets a copy of all this?
Absolutely, I'll email you a copy of this out.
Oh, perfect, thank you.
Additionally, it is currently equipped with advanced life support medical equipment. I do carry medications, I do carry an AED, a defibrillator. I am an advanced EMT, so I'm an advanced life support provider, so, you know, as I'm driving around town, if I'm leaving town hall and there's a medical emergency down the street, I have the ability to arrive prior to action ambulance showing up or prior to an engine showing up, and I can start that advanced medical care right away. So I do carry all that stuff with me as well. The mobile command post, that's what I was just referencing. I have some equipment in there now, but it's not currently mounted. I basically just set up on the tailgate of the truck right now with some handheld radios and things like that. It's not ideal, but it's enough to get the job done at the moment. I have various command whiteboards and things like that we can track all the firefighters or all the personnel working on a scene and make sure that we know where everybody is at all times and that everybody's safe and we don't miss anybody or anything like that. I carry a whole bunch of tools in the truck and I put a rudimentary list here and it's not everything, but I do carry a fire extinguisher, simple, but if I show up first on a fire, I wanna be able to at least start putting that fire out. I carry a multi-gas meter, so that'll detect things like carbon monoxide, hydrogen cyanide, hydrogen sulfide, all those different items I can detect with the meters I carry in the vehicle. So we go out to those smells calls, we like to call them. We can start detecting that stuff. I have a thermal imager, so I'm able to use that to see if there might be fire in a wall or something like that. We can start determining those types of things. I can use that outside of a building. If I show up first, I can actually start scanning the outside of the building and seeing, do I have any excess heat or any potential fire inside? Hand tools, so varying from firefighting hand tools like an axe and a Halligan, down to screwdrivers and wrenches. Some power tools, I do carry a drill and an impact wrench and things like that in there as well for the everyday stuff that I could encounter. If I'm doing an inspection, I might need to take something apart to be able to look at it and inspect it. If I'm doing a fire investigation after a fire, same thing, I might need to take a dryer apart, for example, and kind of see where that fire started and how it began. So I have all the tools I need to do that as well. Or I might need to stop and help somebody change a tire. So, you know, a variation of things, I have a bunch of hand tools to cover all that stuff.
Chief, do we still use thermal imaging cameras for locating accident victims that may have been ejected in the woods and missing people?
Absolutely, absolutely, that's another huge tool for a thermal imager, whether it's mine in my car or the one from the engine. We have used that several times this past year to locate people that were potentially in the woods.
Chief, none of these tools are your personal tools, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
It's none of my business where you live, but what is your drive time, non-emergency from
I think
home to work?
I currently live in Tamworth, right off Route 16 up by the Socorro KOA. And it's about 15 minutes to get into the center of town. Non-emergency, yes. Vicky?
Yeah, are these tools and everything yours personally, or do they belong to?
They are town tools.
So, if anything happens to them, the town's not responsible to replace them?
They're town-owned tools, so yes, they're
Aren't
town.
they under insurance?
Yeah.
Aren't they insured?
Yeah, all of our equipment is insured, so if it was being used in the line of duty, it would be replaced, yes.
So, has anybody checked the tools to see what condition they were in when you
Wouldn't-
started, or,
Wouldn't he do that?
huh?
Wouldn't he do that?
I didn't hear you.
No, I'm sorry, wouldn't he do that? Check the condition?
Yeah, but if they're his tools to begin with,
No, David.
They're not his, they're
No, none of that is
Town
personal.
tools.
They're town-owned, they're not
well, that's
personal.
what I just said.
None of it is personally owned.
That's what he said.
Now you'd
Oh,
understand
I thought
already.
you said they were yours
No, 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 no.
personally.
They are town-owned.
Town
So they're owned by
Oh,
the town.
okay,
They're not mine
alright,
personally,
okay,
no.
alright. Another question is, do other towns have this kind of procedure that they all have all this equipment?
Yes, yes, so every town around us, effectively every town in the county has some form of command vehicle for their fire chief.
Okay.
hold on,
Chris?
Mr. Chairman, if I may just go into depth, just put everything in perspective. There is only one town in Carroll County where the chief doesn't take the vehicle home, and that's by his choice, and that is the West Ospey Fire Chief. He chooses not to take the command vehicle home. He's offered by his commissioner, but he is the only one in Carroll County that does not take a chief's vehicle home. We were the last ones.
If there's an emergency and he's home, I'd rather him get to the emergency with the right tools and go pick up the truck and then go.
That was the old days.
Good, Chris?
Yes,
Good.
thank you.
Okay, JT,
I don't remember where I left off, but, I do carry a chainsaw, so, you know, I can handle simple trees down and stuff like that in my vehicle as I'm out on the roads, whatever they may be. I do have an air pack in the vehicle as well, so, you know, if I'm showing up first to a fire, if I'm coming from home, or, you know, I happen upon something, whatever the case may be, before a fire truck gets there, I do have an air pack that I can start working prior to the engine showing up. Again, in response to most of the incidents in town, I take it to just about every call. If I'm at the station and there's nobody there to bring a fire truck, obviously I'm gonna bring the fire truck, I'm not gonna bring the little pickup truck instead. But for the most part, if I'm out and about in town, I respond to most of our incidents with this vehicle. And a lot of times I'm able to leave the bigger trucks back at the station and handle the smaller calls with this truck, rather than bringing a big engine out on the road and wasting that fuel and the wear and tear on the big vehicles. So it's been able to help us with a lot of that too. A lot of the simple medical calls, even if we have a duty crew at the station, if it's a simple call that we're not gonna need any extra tools for, a lot of times we'll take this vehicle instead of bringing out the ambulance or an engine or anything else. It was, as I said, it was purchased earlier this year using our fire equipment expendable trust fund. It's a 2021 Silverado, currently has about 36,000 miles, and I expect it to last 4 to 8 years. Any questions on that we haven't covered? Ambulance one, there's a nice little picture of it. It's a 2000 Ford E450 ambulance. It is equipped at the advanced life support level and it is capable of transporting, only as a backup when action's not available. It does include some equipment such as a Zoll X Series cardiac monitor defibrillator, as well as a DefibTech mechanical CPR device. So for anybody that hasn't seen that, that's the device that does the CPR for us. Statistically proven to do the best possible CPR and give patients the best outcome possible. There are not many towns that have those, and Action actually does not have one currently. They are supposed to be getting one, and there will be one of these devices shared between the 6 towns. So at current, we're one of the few departments that has one at our disposal right in our station. It's already surpassed its expected lifespan, however, it's still serving us well. Again, it's a reserve, it's a backup piece for us, so we're not looking to replace that at any point soon. You know, we do watch the used market and things like that, and as opportunities come up, there could be a proposal in the future, but as of right now, it's not something that's on our priority list. Any questions on the ambulance?
I know
Forestry
that,
truck.
I know that we get reimbursed, as you mentioned before, just for the,
Yeah, and as I talked about in the budget presentation, we are starting the billing program, which will bring some revenue back from that vehicle that could potentially help to replace it in the
right,
future.
residents won't be charged.
Correct, resident.
Does the ambulance go to every fire?
Not necessarily, it's dependent on our manpower. If the other trucks have gone, it would be kind of a last resort piece. If somebody shows up and the other fire trucks are gone, they might bring the ambulance. But our ambulance is not a priority coming to a
Okay,
fire.
so it's not a routine that when you answer, an ambulance always goes?
No.
Okay,
Action would be coming with an ambulance for any fires in town. So we will have an ambulance there, but it's probably not gonna be ours.
okay,
I didn't cover it on the ambulance. The ambulance does have a lot of tools on it as well. The multi-gas meter that I referenced earlier that I carry in the vehicle, there is one in the ambulance as well. There are 2 air packs in the ambulance. There are hand tools such as an axe and a Halligan, which are common firefighting tools. And should our duty crew get in the ambulance to handle a medical call, they bring their turnout gear with them. So if they were coming back from a medical call and a fire were to come in, they have all the tools they need to just stop at the fire and start working, rather than have to go all the way back to switch vehicles. So we do carry a lot of that equipment on the ambulance as well, even though it is a medical vehicle. The forestry truck, I think we talked about this in the budget presentation as well. It's a 1997 Stewart and Stevenson's military surplus 6x6. It's very large for most of our needs in the town. I think we would benefit from a smaller vehicle, however, this truck does have a use case as well, and I ate my words because at the beginning of the year I was saying I wanted it gone and I hated the thing. And time again, this brush season, it's proven its worth. Places that we would never get a pickup truck style forestry, this truck has been able to go into with ease. It's, as I said, it's proven its worth. We have been looking at the military surplus program for something smaller like a pickup style forestry that could potentially either replace or even supplement this vehicle. If we get something out of that surplus program, it's little to no cost to the town. And what I mean by that is if there was a cost, it would be us traveling to go pick up the vehicle, similar to what we did with the boat this past year. There's no cost to actually purchase the vehicles from the surplus program.
So your plan is to just run this forestry truck into the ground?
Absolutely.
Cause it's not costing us really any except just to run it.
Absolutely, it was military surplus to begin with, so we didn't pay any money to acquire it. And our only expense at this point is keeping it on the road, and it is easily the cheapest vehicle to keep on the road at the moment, so.
Great,
Until something happens, we're gonna continue running it. If we come up with an opportunity, the discussion will happen at that point for the smaller vehicle like I was referencing. In an ideal world, it would supplement this vehicle until this vehicle
yeah, we
was,
wouldn't throw it away until it was ready to go.
exactly.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the forestry truck? Engine one, engine one's our primary engine out of station two. It's a 2015 HME pumper, it has a 1250 gallon per minute pump and a 1000 gallon water tank. It's still in excellent condition, it's still serving us very well. Over the last couple of years, we've been making minor upgrades to engine one, simple things, we've upgraded some of the scene lighting on the side, some of the white lighting we use when we get to a call. And that's just been items we've been able to purchase out of the operating budget. It doesn't need any major mechanical repairs or anything of the sort at the moment. It's in excellent shape and serving us well. It'll reach its 20-year replacement mark in 2035. Current replacement price for this vehicle, if we were gonna replace it with exactly what we have now, is 1.1 million. Engine one was obtained through an insurance replacement after another vehicle was totaled. So there was no cost to the town for that vehicle. But if we were looking to replace it in kind, we'd be looking at $1.1 million to do so. At current, my plan would be to look at a refurbishment option very similar to what we're doing with engine two. And prior to hitting that 20-year mark, send it out, have it refurbished and extend that lifespan as long as we possibly can to eliminate that $1.1 million price tag. And that price tag goes up every year. Questions on engine one? Engine two, this is our pumper tanker. It's a 2004 Kenworth, 1500 gallon per minute pump and a 3000 gallon water tank. It did hit its 20-year replacement time last year. The warrant article was approved at town meeting last year to send it out for refurbishment. We're expecting them to take it for refurbishment in July of 25 and return it to us in January of 2026. When the truck comes back, all the lighting on it will be brand new, the truck will have been completely gone through, any rust issues would have been mitigated. Some new paint, the frame will be sandblasted and covered with a protective coating. I expect to see 15 to 20 years out of that truck when we get it back.
Expected cost to refurnish this?
We're still within the budget, we did confirm with the vendor that there are no, as market costs change, the cost of the refurbishment is not going to fluctuate at all. The only thing that would cause that to change is if maybe they found something that was more damaged than expected, and they would come back to us and say, hey, this is more damaged, it's gonna cost this much additional, move forward or no, we would make the decision at that point. We did have the pump evaluated a few months ago. There was some concern when I first presented the refurbishment that there may be some damage to the pump, we didn't really know the extent of that. We had a rudimentary evaluation of the pump done and they confirmed that at this point there is no obvious damage to the pump. We should not be looking at any major repairs to the pump, so that is good news for us.
So we're looking at less than $250,000.
Absolutely, absolutely, the budget I believe was $250,000 for the refurbishment and I don't have it in front of me, but the estimated cost, I wanna say was like $235,000. So we should come in just under budget as long as there is nothing found as they go through the truck.
And a replacement cost for new pumper?
Again, we'd be just under, this isn't a typical fire engine, a custom cab like engine one is more expensive than a commercial truck like this. The difference is engine one has that cab over chassis where the cab sits over the axle. This is more of a commercial over the road style truck, your Kenworth, your Peterbilt, stuff like that. These are a little bit cheaper, but we'd still be somewhere around $800,000, $900,000 to replace the truck in kind.
Is all this refurbishment warranted?
It is warranted, they do have a warranty on it, and as far as NFPA, the National Fire Protection, as far as they're concerned, they set that 20-year mark where we're supposed to replace trucks, and if a qualified agency does the refurbishment, they approve of the extended lifespan. And the company doing our refurbishment is NFPA approved to do this.
So everything's covered for that time, okay.
Everything is covered.
And where is this vendor?
They're in northern Maine, I don't remember the exact city, but they're about 2 hours north in Maine.
And now something crazy, but I don't suppose they have a replacement that if we have to send it out for warranty work, that they have another vehicle on site that we could use in its place.
They don't at the moment, and that's not a very common thing with fire trucks.
Oh,
They
that's what I
typically
don't know
have
is
the
what I'm
loaner
asking.
thing. However, when I talked to the vendor last, he was asking me if I knew of any trucks that were being sold off that they could buy as a loaner vehicle. So this particular vendor is looking to purchase something to use as a loaner, and to my knowledge, they have not acquired anything yet.
Okay, just,
They're looking for it in the future though, so.
yeah, okay. So obviously I'm not crazy.
No, not at all.
No, about this,
Well, that's debatable.
no, about this.
Any other questions on engine 2? Our favorite little truck, engine 3. Engine 3 is our 2016 F550 HME 4-wheel drive mini pumper. It has a 1,500 gallon per minute pump and a 500 gallon water tank. My words are jumbled in that second bullet, I don't know how I managed that, but it's experienced a lot of mechanical failures over the last couple of years. Currently, it's in great condition, currently we don't have any issues with it, they seem to pop up randomly. I can't speak to when that'll happen again, but exactly, knock on wood and hope for the best. It'll reach its 20-year mark in 2036. Again, with these vehicles, the best thing you can do with a smaller vehicle like that is put it on a new chassis. All the issues that we've had with the truck have been chassis related, they really have not been related to the fire part of the body. So somewhere between now and 2036, if we put that on a new chassis, I expect that we can get a better quality vehicle and extend the lifespan without having to purchase a new vehicle. So that'll be something that we look for in the future. As much as it's a frustrating truck because of the mechanical issues we've had with it, it does serve a purpose for our town. When we talk about the campgrounds, the camp roads, the tight narrow roads, the driveways on Province Lake Road that have private bridges that aren't rated for an actual fire truck to go over, those are the reasons that this truck exists in our town, and that's why it's so important for our town. In addition, when we talk about winter storms like we've had in April, we're not getting a big fire truck throughout our town, so had we had a house fire during that storm, there's a good chance this is the only truck that we would have been able to get there. So, although it's frustrating to keep having mechanical problems with the truck, it does unfortunately serve a purpose for us. Any questions on engine 3? Okay. Some of the projects that we worked on this past year, we've already covered the engine 2, I'm not gonna go back over that. There's that contract pricing, it was $247,990 is the contract we've signed with the company. Our budget was $250, so as long as nothing pops up, we will be under budget. Work will begin in July and come back in either January or February of 26. The last update was in January, we'll be back. Our repeater, the equipment arrived, it's been installed. We did move the equipment to the fire station. The library wasn't viable due to some of the signal constraints. I think we've had that conversation already. We do have a tower that's going to be put up at Station 1 with a 20-foot antenna on top of that to further improve the coverage of that repeater. The equipment was all purchased out of the warrant article. We were within the budget of the warrant article even with having to move it. And the tower material was actually donated, so we didn't have to purchase any of that stuff. So we are currently still under budget, however, we do have some hardware to purchase. We will still be within the constraints of the warrant article budget when we're done. Any questions on that? Hose and nozzle replacement, we applied for an assistance to firefighters grant through the federal government to replace some of our aging hose and water supply apparatus. We were awarded $60,751 and some change. We do have a local match of just over $3,000 for that grant. Since I take that, we have actually selected a vendor and placed orders. Caitlin really enjoys all the packages that are showing up here every day, but the equipment has started arriving, so we are slowly receiving that equipment in from this grant purchase. So we'll be able to replace a lot of our nozzles that were aging, a lot of our hose that was aging, all with this grant money. So that's something that we don't need to look for in the future to replace out of budget money or trust funds or anything like that.
How old were the originals?
Some of it was dating back to the 80s. The generator at Fire Station 2, it was damaged during the April storm. We put in an insurance claim for it. They did approve the replacement of the generator through the insurance. Only cost to the town was our $1,000 deductible. So a new generator is ordered and should be installed hopefully before snow flies. And that'll provide us with a brand new generator for the facility. We are moving the generator to the back side of the building. We currently have an issue where carbon monoxide flows freely into the fire station when the generator is running.
Nice.
So we're gonna move it to the back side of the building. That is part of the budget that was approved by Primex, so our only cost is $1,000. There will be a small cost for gas piping by the gas company, but we're moving it closer to the tank, so that should be pretty simple. The roof at Fire Station 2 was also damaged during the April storm. We had a bunch of limbs that fell through and penetrated the roof decking. Primex has approved a partial replacement of the roof. Effectively, they're paying for one slope. We are paying for the other slope out of the building trust fund. I spoke with the vendor today, he's ordering all the equipment now, and he expects to get work started within a couple of weeks to get that roof completely replaced. So we'll end up with a brand new roof at the fire station at about half the cost, what it would have normally been. Some upcoming stuff, we've talked a little bit about the capital items, the big ticket capital items. SCBA's is one of our biggest capital items. They have a 20-year lifespan like most everything else we use in the fire service. Our current units were purchased in 2017 with an assistance to firefighters grant. They'll need to be replaced in 2037. We do have 13 air packs, 26 cylinders, and 17 masks. And the number of air packs we have are dictated by our membership as well as our riding positions on the apparatus. Again, we did get the assistance to firefighters grant to buy these current units, but that grant program is set up to help towns get established. It's not meant to be a consistent replacement. And we don't even know for sure that the assistance to firefighters grant program will exist in 2037 at this point. It almost got shut down this past year and it just barely got renewed for this current budget year. So, I would not expect that these units will be replaced with grant funding when the time comes.
Where does the funding come from for that?
It's all federal government through
It's
FEMA.
federal money? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Estimated replacement costs, so this is all current costs as of right now. Again, these costs change every year, and in fact, the price changes at this point have become quarterly. So every quarter, there's a price increase on this stuff. So they're $8,000 a piece, we have 13 of them, we're looking at $104,000 for the packs themselves. The bottles are $1,100 a piece, we have 26 of them, we'd be looking at $28,600. The masks are $425 a piece, we have 17 of them, looking at $7,200. For a total replacement cost of $139,000. And this is where we have these discussions now, rather than waiting till the year before they're no good. And this is how we dictate what we should be funding our expendable trust funds at to prepare for these purchases now, rather than the year prior when we have to scramble to find the money. So if we're funding our trust funds appropriately moving forward, we should be able to make these purchases out of the trust fund without having to scramble. Another topic here, the Jaws of Life, we haven't talked about these really at all at any of the meetings I've done so far. They are the high-powered tools that allow us to cut, spread, and lift our vehicles to free a trapped victim. They can be used for a lot more than vehicles. We can lift pretty much anything with them, whether it be some form of machinery, a tractor or something like that. We can use them to rescue victims from a number of scenarios. We do currently have 2 sets of these tools. One of them is on engine 1 that stays at station 2. The other is on engine 3 that stays at station 1. The set at station 2 that's on engine 1 was purchased 28 years ago. It was purchased with the original engine 1, the one that was totaled. They have significantly outlived their lifespan and they are definitely showing their age. We did training last month where we cut up some cars in training with our Jaws, and when we pulled them off the trucks, we found a couple of the hoses were so badly dry rotted that we took them out of service and didn't use them. Unfortunately, although these are checked every week during the truck checks, the dry rot was actually up underneath all the sheathing, so it would have been something that was seen until they were operated. We were able to find a hose to replace it, so we've got them back in service for now. The vendor that replaced the hose said, hey, I just used my last kit. The parts are no longer made for these, and he just used his last kit to repair our hoses, so we're on our last fix. Our second set of tools was purchased in 2016 when we got engine 3. They are battery powered tools. The tools themselves work great. Our limitation right now is they're using DeWalt batteries that are no longer manufactured and there is no replacement. They are 48 volt DeWalt batteries. There's no replacement battery on the market for it. Yes, you can go on eBay and you can find a Chinese version of the battery. I'm not willing to put those in a life-saving tool like this and question whether or not they're gonna work, or whether they're gonna damage the tool itself. We have 2 batteries left that hold a partial charge, and the remaining batteries are all no good. So, we're on borrowed time with those. There is no way to plug them into wall power or anything like that. We could upgrade the tools to take a modern battery. The cost quote we got to upgrade the tools to take a modern battery was more expensive than just replacing them with brand new tools.
How much is a new tool?
Coming shortly.
Oh, okay,
There's a slide on that.
sorry, I jumped it.
The tools do the job they need to do right now, they meet our needs, but we're at a ticking time bomb here, so it's definitely something that we're gonna need to look at in the next couple of years replacing. I took a couple of photos there on the left, you can see the crack in the hose that was covered by that metal sheath. You can see the other end, it's kind of tough to see, but right above the black ring on the red hose, see how you can see the netting?
Yeah.
That's actually the interior core of the hose.
Yeah.
These are high pressure tools, so they operate at a very, very high hydraulic pressure with hydraulic fluid coming through those lines. Had we charged those lines, there's a good chance they would have ruptured and more than likely injured somebody. Definitely would have covered them with hot fluid, but the rupture itself probably would have injured somebody. Here's our quote to replace. This would replace exactly what we have with the modern version of the tools. Total cost is 60,000. 61,000 by the time we're done. So they're definitely not cheap, not as expensive as some of the other stuff we use, but it's definitely a consideration. There are grants do exist for this stuff. AFG does have a grant program for JAWS. It's currently low priority on the list, so when we put in for those grants, you go by the priority. You put in for the high priority items and effectively you don't waste your time on the low priority items because there's not enough funding to get down to the low priority. Jaws of Life has been on the low priority list for the last 3 or 4 years and is expected to remain on the low priority list.
Sorry, go ahead. This is just for one Jaws of Life?
This will replace both sets.
Both,
So engine 1 and engine 3 would both be replaced with what we have but the new modern version.
Okay, I see, okay, I see it.
And that's just 24 pricings.
That is correct, and the price increase is happening next week, I think.
I'm sure.
So why are you getting 2 different Jaws for one? This, the S789 and SP333?
You
It's
just
the
spoke
size
to
of the tool itself, so I actually misspoke, I said it was replacing exactly what we have, it's not replacing exactly what we have. Engine 1 will continue to have the larger tools, the more capable tools. Engine 3 is scaled down to a smaller version of the tool,
Okay.
which is more cost effective and more space effective in a small truck like that. It's what we call a combi tool versus the 3 individual tools. We have a cutter, a spreader, and a ram which extends to lift things. Engine 1 would have all 3 of those items. Engine 3, the mini pumper, would just have a small version, one tool that does all of the items.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Any question?
And like I said, we're gonna need to look in the next couple of years to make a purchase to start replacing these items. And I'm not gonna go into that tonight. So, that's what I got,
JT,
those are our big items.
what's the total members?
We are currently at 13 and I hired 14 today.
14 today.
Number 14 today.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Staff member 14.
How many are in town?
4.
What is the farthest one away?
Yeah, I think Conway's gonna be our furthest.
Conway?
We have a
About
couple of them
35
over
minutes.
as well. The individuals that don't live within the response district do not take any equipment home with them. So turnout gear is shared between a couple members currently, and those are the members that don't live close. So I'm not purchasing equipment for people that don't live right here. So,
Since you've been with us, how many times have you had to use the Jaws of Life? And the second question is, since our last meeting, how many calls have you been on, do you think? Emergency calls?
Jaws of Life question, probably 5 or 6 since I started here,
How many years is that? Total?
and that's 3 years.
Okay.
They're not high frequency, but they are high life hazard.
They have worked every time though, you've had to use.
They have worked every time, yes.
If they didn't, I'm asking because I'm new at this, is this something that if you needed help, the town of Ossipee would help? Or
Absolutely.
Tamworth, or I don't know if Tamworth.
Every town around us has the tool as well, so mutual aid would be a consideration in this, and we would tap on our mutual aid partners to come and bring their tools as well to help us.
Thank you.
And, last one I had, was the member pay scale that you passed out last time. Do you still have that? Have you updated that?
There really hasn't been much of a change to the pay scale itself, aside from annual raises.
Per qualification, I mean.
Yep, it's still the same base rate and the same price per
Do
qualification.
you still have that?
I do.
Can you send that to me
Yep,
again
I
with
can
this?
send you a copy of that.
Yep, and then I'll get it to the committee. We pay them based on this for Cody and Scott knows that we pay them based on qualifications on the way, as far as compensation to a fire, as far as the hourly pay. Just so you'll see that when JT gives me that, I'll make sure you guys get it, just so you see that too.
Is compensation paid out to say if there was an emergency and we needed, I'm just using this as an example, town of Ospey to come and use their jaws of life or come and help with a fire, how do we make it right with the town, the other town?
The mutual aid town?
Do we?
Here, like
Yeah,
JT.
so we're part of the Ospey Valley Mutual Aid, and that was one of the, we pay the dues, I talked about that in the
Yeah.
budget presentation. Our membership to that organization is what allows those relationships to happen. And it's a type of situation where we call Ospey to come help us use their jaws of life, for example, and then the next time they have a fire, they're gonna call us to bring a tanker to bring them some water. We have that kind of mutual partnership where we'll call them if we need help, they'll call us if they need help.
And there's
And
no
we all
like
share
one's
that.
greater than the other, it's just, I like that.
We pay a membership dues to that, right?
And that, yeah, our membership dues help cover all those organizations cumulatively.
That's
So everybody around us has a
Freedom,
mutual.
Parsonsville, all the area, like.
Nobody's keeping score.
Correct.
No, that's good,
No, I will say.
That's why I asked that question, cause I didn't know if there was gonna be a problem if the ambulance is used and then we bill it to say a family in Freedom, if they take an ambulance call and then we bill them for it, is that outside that purview?
No, it's not, and that's what they see from Action currently anyway, so if Action were to pick them up, they're gonna get a bill from Action, so if it happened to be us that picked them up instead, they're just gonna get the bill from us instead. And it's probably gonna be half the cost.
Same people, but half the cost.
Any other questions for JT? Thank you, JT, good job, I
Thanks
appreciate
for
it.
everything, JT.
And your voice lost it, good job.
I know.
I know it. Thank you for sitting over there, I appreciate it. Okay, if everybody, if you will, please turn in your packet to page 8. Get back into the budget sheets. You should see 4153 legal, everybody have that? Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve 4153 legal for the select board approved amount of 50,000. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Rose second. And you'll see on page 3 of your budget to actual the breakdowns. I think, Leo, you guys detailed that you felt keeping it level fund because of things have changed and no more.
Yeah, we don't anticipate going over to 50,000 this year.
So we had some changes from some of the big cost items.
Right.
Don't jinx us.
Was this all the gas station?
No,
Which one, Steve? The select board one?
No, the
Budget
those
action.
illegal.
correct, no. We also had the $17,000 settlement to Eversource, and we had $1,100 a month payment prior to that settlement,
8 times.
8 times to Eversource as part of the, that was kind of like a, for lack of a better word, I'm gonna call it like, like a class action where multiple towns go after one company. This was the opposite. Eversource went after multiple towns because they felt like they were being over-assessed on the utilities, and the judge agreed with them. So we had to pay them back, so, and the final settlement payment was $17,000, which was a big chunk of that as well, plus over $1,000 8-time payment, so.
Okay,
And as we learned throughout the years, if you remember right, that, I mean, we take the best stab at this as we can, because obviously things change. we never know, we're just taking the best guess on legal. We have to fund it, and they are legally obligated, allowed to go over if they have to for certain instances. So we take the best guess we can at the budget of what we know at the time.
And to elaborate on what Leo said, if I may, having said there's a settlement, so that was the final settlement payment, we know that that case is over with. And where we feel pretty confident that the other case, is, well, today's the 19th,
Yes.
correct? So they had 15 days, the judge was gonna rule within 15 days on the appeal of the appeal of the appeal. So we feel confident, we got correspondence yesterday, that they feel confident that, I mean, in the ultimate ruling on October 1st, the judge basically said that I'm not gonna entertain any more appeals. And then he got an appeal, so we kind of are optimistic that that'll be settled as well, so we feel confident that the 50,000 will be more than adequate.
But do you have any questions on legal?
No.
Motion on the table is 4153 for the select board approved amount of 50,000. All those in favor signify aye and nay.
Racine, aye.
Mr. Mackay?
Crocwood, aye.
Wells, aye.
Bill, aye?
Regal, aye.
Strauss, aye. Okay, we'll move on to page 9. 4152 assessing. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the select board submitted amount of $40,450. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Rose second. And the contract amount is for the new contract company,
Correct.
so we no longer have Avatar starting the new year.
Correct.
It's KRT, I believe,
Yes.
is that right? Okay. And that's a contract amount that we'd be obligated.
KRP is new assessor?
Yeah, and that's a contract amount that we'd be,
So don't shoot them if they pull into your yard.
they're doing a,
I'll do what I want.
I think Caitlin told me it's a statistical
For your dad.
statistical evaluation for the whole town, so they'll be doing it based on stats, not necessarily driving around to the homes, I think that's what you told me,
Correct.
which you're allowed to do by the state.
Correct.
What's KRT stand for?
It's a guy's name, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It's a man's name, and I can't remember.
It's the president of the founding company's name,
Yeah,
Go, go.
yes,
So there you go.
Where were their offices, Chris?
Massachusetts. But they do have an assessing clerk that works for their company in, Bartlett. Bartlett? Yeah, just know that, I'm pretty sure it's
it's
Bartlett.
in New Hampshire, I know
Yes.
that, yeah.
Okay,
Dave, could you explain again what they're doing this first year?
It's called statistical survey, what they're gonna do is they're gonna look at all sales and, improvements and everything, and they'll do everything based off of that, as far as what they're gonna come back and say what your home is assessed at. And instead of actually coming out looking at your house like you normally would on a full evaluation, everything will be based on all the numbers that are currently available to them. They're allowed to do that.
so they're taking Avatar's word for it.
No,
No, on the sales, Steve.
Oh,
Sales will be the big thing is pretty much what they'll be looking at, sales of generalized homes. A ranch home sold in Effingham with 2 acres, this is what it sold for, this is what they had it assessed
Is
at.
that on the
And
website,
like one,
like what?
KRT.
sold last year? It is.
Okay, yeah.
yeah, if you look
I
on
can't
it.
get the web here tonight.
the only time that we're going out, if I may,
Yep,
is major reconstructions, new constructions. And, I mean, if you ask me, it is what they're all doing. I'm sure Avatar would have done the same form, using market value, market sales. Let's face it, the houses are selling for astronomically more than what they're actually worth, in my opinion. I mean, just in 5 years' time.
I agree.
You can't buy a house in the town of Effingham for under 300,000,
And that's a trailer.
and that's a trailer. It's right.
Some are trailers.
I mean, there's a mobile home, the first mobile home on Green Mountain Road, right here at the intersection, that was $329,000.
That green one, right when you turn on Elm Street, from Route 16 sold for like $370 or something, and it had no septic tank, and has been upgraded since the seventies.
Now, the contract that we have is for 5 years.
Correct.
5 years, just so everybody knows. Okay, and we're gonna be doing what we've done before, which is we bank for the 5th year for the full evaluation. Some of the money, some of this 30,000,
We're starting backwards with this one.
Yeah, cause next year it's a full evaluation.
Starting with the reevaluation.
we're starting with the reevaluation.
Correct.
We already have the money banked in for it.
Yep, from the carryover.
Could someone give me a brief example, an explanation of what tax maps are?
Tax
Like how
maps,
is, like with the money, like are you like posting it, like how is tax maps? 3,500?
Oh, that's for updating tax maps.
Yeah.
Well, not that map, but basically,
I know what a map is and I know what taxes are, I wanna know what tax.
let's say if your boundaries are changed or new, whatever, they have to update the tax map.
you look on your tax bill, you'll see lot map number, lot 408, map number 12.
I guess I'm just trying to understand the price.
There's the binder,
Door's locked.
there's no my binder right here.
Is that it right there?
No, that's a,
Yeah,
well, yes, it is one.
So that's just the cost of doing them and printing them.
That's,
Update 'em.
updating them.
that's the
Oh, okay,
updated views.
updating.
You have to update your maps every so
These
often.
are updated tax maps.
Yeah, so basically shows you what section.
I know
you're in.
what they are, I just didn't know what the cost was, just
That's
for
just
updating,
update-
that's how
update.
much it costs to update them per year.
Correct.
Depending on the number of building permits, the number of whatever.
Thank you.
And KRT is located in Haverhill, Massachusetts.
In where?
Haverhill,
Haverhill,
Haverhill?
Haverhill,
I don't
To
know
the people who don't call it
Massachusetts. I
Haverhill.
try to stay away.
As do most of them.
Okay, so this will be a new company starting, we're starting out with the first year, like Chris noted. And then we've got 4 more years contracted with them. And my question is, I assume that we're gonna be
Well, a
putting money
total of 5
away,
years.
extra money away for the next full evaluation like we're doing with the carryovers. So you'll see in the 6,000 line item now, if you look in your budget to actual. Everybody turn to page 11, your budget to actual. You will see 6,000 carryover. So some of that 30 and this 49,879 is gonna pay for this full year evaluation. So what we do is, the bill yearly is less than that amount that we budget yearly. We save the money extra that's not spent and put it in the carryover and add to it every year. So when we get like this big year, we have that in the, sort of
full-
like banking the money.
Right.
That's what that carryover is for,
It's for the full reevaluation.
full reevaluation.
We're gonna change that to KRT,
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
well, I can, I'm gonna be seeing her tomorrow, so I'll ask her to
That's
do
right,
that.
too.
So what's the difference between what they're doing now and full evaluation?
Yeah, doing a full evaluation this year.
Okay, but that's just based on averages, right?
Go ahead, Chris.
Straight Chris, please.
Yeah, so you take like the DRA, Department of Revenue Administration, they wanna see a town reevaluated every 5 years
Mhm.
in total. So they do all of the new pickups, building permits and stuff like that, and they take like essentially a quarter of the town this year, quarter of the town, different quarter, year 2, and so on and so forth. Year 5, they take all of that information, all of the recent sales over the last 5 years, and they calculate a new town reevaluation in year 5.
That's per state requirements.
Okay, so that's the phase we're at right now,
Yeah.
We, well,
2025.
Next year,
next year.
yes, because we are currently in year 4 of a contract with Avatar.
Mhm.
Avatar, exercised their right to the removal clause, or the exit clause.
opt out.
30-day, and they opted out. They would have been doing the townwide revale in 2025 in the 5th year of their contract. But they opted out, so we had to go with a new company, so because of that, we are still within the 5-year cycle with DRA. So we're starting a new company, but we're going backwards, starting with a revale.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know that's the
Utilities?
5th year thing. was a thing. I'm
Utilities?
just familiar with the.
Utilities are our poles, electric stations, you know, the junction stations that you
Oh,
see.
telephone poles and everything,
Telephone poles and the electric junction stations, they tax
Most of
those.
the new buildings,
like the one on Townhouse and the one on Rye Field.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And New Hampshire allows you to
Remember
tax
them
those
doing that,
utilities.
okay. Alright, okay.
Yeah, so that's factored in. Anybody else have any questions on assessing? Did we get enough information on that? Okay, so the motion on the table is to approve 4152 assessing for $40,450. All those in favor signify aye and nay.
Racine, aye.
Whittenback, aye.
Kirkwood, aye.
Bullseye.
Regal, aye.
Strauss aye. Okay, so if we flip over, page 10. 4155 payroll. That's your retirement and FICA. Okay, so we know we have the retirement, FICA is all our employees, everyone, which is FICA is your social security and your Medicare. That's our payments, our 7.65% for FICA, and the retirement based, we have three people, excuse me, we got the town administrator and the 2 police.
Right.
Okay, and they have percentages differences based on whether or not they're firefighter or police, as opposed to, town,
Group 1, Group 2.
yep, administrator. Anybody have any questions on retirement?
It is what it is.
Okay, so motion on the table, did I do that already?
No, you haven't.
No, not
Okay, I make a motion to approve 4155 payroll expenses for the select board approved amount of $103,264.
I'll second.
Rose second. I see no other questions. All those in favor signify aye and nay.
Racine, aye.
Whittenback, aye.
Kirkwood, aye.
Bullseye.
Hillsman, aye.
Regal, aye.
Strauss aye. Okay, so page 11, you will see municipal buildings, 4194. And that's pretty much an increase in our heat and our electric, which we knew electric was going up based on Eversource increase. So what you see here is the increase from,
No,
no, Eversource didn't go up on this one, no, I'm on the wrong one, I'm sorry, yeah.
we added the telephone.
Yep, that's right. That was from the 4130, right?
Yeah, we combined, yes.
Combined it into municipal buildings, different budgets for telephone.
One category.
Okay, so you look at your budget to actual,
Well, it's all over the place, so.
so it's kinda hard to try and, cause we still got a month and a half left of stuff.
Actually, doesn't say shit.
So that's kinda hard.
Yeah, I mean, you see the totals at 55,822. And we still have, sure, some heating bills and electric bills, 2 months left to pay. So you can see we're not too far out of the ballpark of the estimated amount. And of course, we added, the other thing, remember, is we added the 7,500 because we pulled that in from the other budgets.
Right.
So I would say we're in the ballpark of what we need to be for 4190. Anyone have a question on that?
No.
Okay, did I make a motion on that?
No, you didn't.
I make a motion for 4194
Sorry about
for the
that.
select board approve amount of 78,100.
I'll second.
Rose seconded it.
Yep. Just makes it.
Any
easier.
discussion?
Get a sign that says second.
All those in favor signify aye and nay.
Racine, aye.
Whittenback, aye.
Kirkwood, aye.
Bullseye.
Hillsman, aye.
Regal, aye.
Strauss aye. Okay. Now we'll turn to page 12, which you will see 4196 insurance. Okay, so let me see if I can
Just the
decipher.
same 3 people?
So what happened here is we went up to 3 family and 1
Motion.
2-person.
Motion.
Oh, thank you.
Still on the school board, right?
4196, I'll make a motion for 4196 insurance for the select board approved amount of 149,742.
I second.
Rose seconded. Alright, I'll get back to that, sorry about that. Health insurance up 9.8%. And what we had different on this is we went from 2-family to 3-family.
No, 2 to 1.
No, one.
One to
family,
two.
two single, to two family, one single.
She put down we had 2-family, excuse
2
me.
families and 1.
2-family, 1 2-person,
Right.
which is a different rate than a single.
Correct.
So right now, the families went from 3566 to 42,795. Large increase. Times 2, because we got 2 family. And the 1 2-person went from 2641 to 31,700. So you can see that this is one of the things that I was telling you that you get stuck with, the increases that we have no control over. Except for not having people, which we know we're not gonna do that. But, I mean, the insurance is, it's a large increase on this insurance.
Plus the employees pay 10%
Yes, they do.
on top of that.
And it's the right thing to do.
And it's-
So these are the same workers that we're paying 140-something thousand for FICA, and we're paying $103,000 for,
50-something, I mean,
We also pay, FICA gets paid for all of the town employees,
yeah, all of them. Even
part-time people and everything.
Yeah,
firefighters, yeah, all, every employee.
Everyone.
How many people total? Sorry, how many people total do you think?
Insurance?
Yeah.
3.
Hired,
We only have
Oh,
3.
can I hear that again?
right?
Sorry, I just didn't know how many people total were covered.
Oh, what'd you say, Chris? 3,
Anyways.
By insurance.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got the notes on the left here on your budget sheet, you can see that it says employee 10% contribution. Employee pays in full for dental. We don't pay their dental. And then you can see 2-family, and we went to 1 single, 1 2-person plan. That's what the major increase was. Everybody understand that?
no. Employee contribution 10%, so the figures that we're asking for
That's not included, the 10% is already taken out of that.
is already taken out.
Yeah,
Alright,
It's 90%.
okay,
yeah,
just, gotcha.
A lot.
it is huge. Okay, so the motion on the table, anybody other discussion? Motion on the table is to approve 4196 insurance for $149,742. All those in favor?
C9.
Chris Mack, aye.
Fairwood, aye.
Wells eye.
Pills and I.
Regal eye.
Strauss eye.
Who are the 3 people again? Caitlin, Tyler, and?
Both
Brian.
police, both police,
The
Both
sergeant.
police?
both
Okay,
police and the town administrator.
thank you.
And keep in mind again, the numbers that when we go level with the select board, like I started this, keeping these level, it's still all will tabulate up if we keep level funded at the nonprofits of a 31-cent increase overall. Okay, so I just wanna reinforce that, so I know we're seeing a large increase here, but it's still way below the 50 that we had first projected for the operating budget.
Just think how wonderful it'd be if we get a 3rd police officer.
I mean, obviously, we'd like to see less.
No,
Yeah.
Obviously, we'd like to see less, because we know what's gonna happen next year with the school. We have a good idea. Okay, let's move on. Sheet 13, I'll make a motion to approve 4215 EMS contract for the select board approved amount of $91,458.
I'll second.
Rose, you second that?
Yes, I will.
And you will notice gleefully, this is a large decrease based on the percentages of how much use
Yep.
the town does between all the co-op towns that are in it. Everybody, some paid more, some pay less. We just happen to be on the great end of it to pay less this year.
Less patients to transport.
It's always nice to have.
But they meet, what, twice a year, once a year?
Once
Once a year?
I think once a year now.
a year. We just met about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, they have, are the stats still being provided on the website? There was stats on our website of ambulance, of that,
I don't think we've
usage
received them lately.
We haven't.
from Action. We haven't been receiving them? Okay. We used to have stats monthly in there they had. So this is, contract is good till, I believe, 2028. Is that correct? 2030?
Yeah. the 5-year
Thank you.
extension.
Oh, 20?
And you'll see that adjusted yearly. In contract, 2030, you said, JT?
Correct.
Till 2030. And the other thing I'll point out on the bottom of this sheet, this also helps us. And we may not get quite 30, just because we dropped down, but it depends on how many runs that we have to do for the Green Mountain Center. Last year, we ended up with about 30, we ended up reimbursed from them by a contract the select board had done with them to cover the services for our town. So that's an additional amount that we get in to offset this cost,
And that just goes unassigned fund balance.
yes.
And it only goes towards this,
Goes into the fund balance,
into the general fund?
into the general fund.
Dave, I don't anticipate that much money coming in next year.
I don't think we'll have 30 next year because we're less, but I mean, it shows,
Less calls at the treatment
Depends.
center. JT?
you don't know if we're gonna have more next year.
You think it's
Yeah,
gonna
I
go-
mean, I guess next year you don't know.
We don't know, it's all based on the amount of calls,
This year, I would assume we'd be at least 30, if not more.
Okay,
so depends on how many calls, you're just taking a stab, but the good thing to know is we get reimbursed some for that, and it's in the thousands.
so last year, our cost for EMS was only 100,000 versus 130. If you use the 30,000 offset.
Say that again, Lee, I'm sorry.
So last year, we had $130,355.
Yep,
So with the 30,000 offset, it goes into the general
General.
fund.
Yeah.
There's only
so it
100,
was only 100 is what we, yeah,
yeah,
Actually less, cause that was our proposed budget. Leo, you just quoted 130.
oh, excuse me, 125, excuse me,
125.
yeah, yeah.
No, we paid them 125 and then we ended up getting 30 back.
So 95.
Yeah. Yeah, is that what you're getting at, Leo?
Yeah.
Okay, just make sure I'm good with that. Anybody have any other
Well,
questions
it's
on
good to know,
EMS?
because people are gonna start talking about, well, how much, what's going on with all these ambulances going up to Green Mountain, you know, so we should know this, that's.
Actually, if I can interrupt JT, of the calls your team does that would have normally required an ambulance, does the ambulance show up anyway, or do you kinda wave them off, or
If,
like how much does that offset the number of calls and how it affects our rate? Just
from what I've always understood, the way they calculate the numbers are only medical calls in nature, if they're coming with an ambulance for a patient. They don't bill us when they come for a fire alarm activation or something like that.
Okay.
That is my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's my
The
understanding
only
too.
thing that would reduce that contract in their liability is the numbers, sheer numbers, call volume's gone down, and we transport it. As opposed to them, and we're only gonna transport if they're not available, or if it's the boss's transport.
I think we're at 6 transports week, FAM has done this current year.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the EMS contract?
No.
Okay, motion on the table is approved 4215 EMS contract for 91,458. All those in favor signify aye and nay.
Wasn't that guy?
Record eye?
Wells aye.
Phil's and I,
Regal eye.
Strauss aye. Alrighty, page 14. Oops. 4312 highways and streets, I'll make a motion to approve the select board submitted amount of 604,670.
I'll second.
Road seconds. 4312.
Wouldn't it be nice if this is the one thing we had to worry about all of them,
Can I have,
you know?
Dave, can I have Chris speak on this?
Only if
It's worth the commitment.
Only what?
Only if you have questions.
Well, run through it, please. Just on the ones that change.
Let me throw you a question, Chris.
Okay, sure,
Okay, crack sealing.
yep.
Obviously, we didn't do all the roads we were gonna do in
We
front of
haven't
all
done
the
any this
families.
year.
We didn't do any?
Nope. We wanted to, we were supposed to, but the company that we hired, for whatever reason, I know what it was a personal thing, it was a company thing, whatever. They were supposed to go from Elm Street, which you saw, which didn't come out of our coffers. That was a warranty item through GMI on Elm Street. They were supposed to go from that to Green Mountain Road, all of the white marks that you saw on Green Mountain Road, from Champion Hill to Route 25. That was all supposed to be crack sealed, and now I'm being told that it's too cold, so.
So you did all that work and
All
then,
convenient.
and then,
You put the little white lines down?
Yeah, I walked the whole 6, whatever.
so it was basically because they're saying we're too late?
Yes, I mean, we did secure them and hired them a long time ago, but
Yeah, understandable, I understand that.
So they won't ever be done?
Next year.
next year.
And that'll still be under the warranty?
No, that part's not warranted.
Oh, it's not?
No,
Elm
the
Street.
line we were paying for, the work that you saw got done on Elm Street, that was a warranty item through GMI. We didn't pay for that.
Do you already pay them the money?
I'm sorry?
Do you already pay them the money to do it, now they're saying it's too cold?
No,
We didn't-
no.
No,
Well, I guess I think I confused people. So there was some crack sealing done this year,
Yeah.
it was done on Elm Street.
You're right,
We
warranty.
did not pay for that, we did not hire that company. GMI did that as warranty work because there was some cold joint separation in the center line and a couple of other seams. So they hired a company to come per our request to do warranty on the pavement of 2023 on Elm Street.
Right.
They did that. We hired the same company to continue to do the cracks that I identified on Green Mountain
On Green
with the white paint. That was going to be our cost. They did not, they had to leave, it was the end of the day, and it is my understanding that, that following week, there was some, attorneys involved and the company is under suspension, I'm gonna put it that way.
There you go.
It is being televised and I don't wanna jeopardize their reputation, so,
Basically, Elm Street was warranty work,
yeah.
and the rest of it we couldn't get to.
Yeah, we do have full, I did have full intention on getting those cracks addressed before winter. And maybe they'll still come through, I'm still hoping, I mean, I'm still trying, but
Snow
I
next
am being
week.
told it's too
yeah,
late.
really.
So Green Mountain Road wasn't warranty covered
Right.
No,
to, really?
All of those warranties are only for a year,
wow.
so Green Mountain Road was out of warranty anyway.
Yeah.
And that's normal, that is unfortunately normal wear and tear. We live in the North Country, it happens, it absolutely happens. The heaving of the roads, the frost, and given the winter that we had last year. To put things into perspective, I took a course at NHMA, it was on bang for the buck in roads and road maintenance. Something I've been preaching right along is, once you start to see that crack seal, where it's not just one line, it's multiple lines in the same area, it's too late, you've already waited too long. Then it should be in a chip seal. I've said that right along, there is food for thought that it should be, that crack sealing is your first line of defense. Once it gets to that point and they call it spider webbing, then it's too late, you waited too long, it's already gone past that. And, so you're just throwing away money. And I'm sorry that it is what it is, but there's a crack sealing company that we used for years, I can't remember the name of it. But during the process of going on these roads, getting ready for my bond and our bond idea, there are areas where I could take a putty knife and I could start a crack seal that was done previously and peel that up,
Wow.
and there was nothing underneath it. So if anybody wonders why we didn't continue with that company, that's why, we were paying by the pallet. And on this end of Townhouse Road and on the Preservation Society of Town House Road, there are areas where I started the crack seal, I could walk and peel it up and there was no crack underneath it. They just dragged the wand on the pavement, put it down at approximately 1/4 inch thick, 3 inches wide, and there wasn't a crack under it.
Chris, could you cover calcium chloride, what the intention of that is?
Yeah, so because of the way the summer fell, our goal, because of the cost of calcium chloride, it used to be under $1, and then it was up closer to $2. It is going to remain somewhere in the dollar, between $1.65 and $1.75. We may actually be able to, at this rate, use magnesium as opposed to calcium chloride. Magnesium lasts a little bit longer. It is a little bit more money,
I was gonna
but,
say,
a little bit more money, but it does last longer. And our intention last year, given the cost, it was twice as much money, was to do the main travel roads, Hunter's Bridge Road, Plantation Road, not just cause my mother lives on that road, that's a crossway from the state of Maine. And Clough Road, Grant Road, Nutter Road, those are our most traveled dirt roads. That end, they're throughways. We did treat those, Hunter's Bridge Road got treated twice, Clough Road, got treated once, and it held up great. That is one of the main reasons why we didn't use more than that, but we do know it's gonna cost. Nobody has a crystal ball, we don't know how much rain we'll get next year. If, the weather kind of holds like this, we can do magnesium, the magnesium will last. I mean, you can drive on those dirt roads right now, Hunter's Bridge Road, it's like that tar, it's almost a tar road, which is beautiful.
Yeah, I drove it Sunday, it was nice.
Do we know what it is to do, because obviously putting that down saves all the material, we know that.
Correct.
Saves the material, what the additional cost to go back to doing all the roads like we did before? Do we have that amount?
So you figure it costs just about $2,200 per mile to regrade and
Is that what it was, Chris?
prepare the road, so. $1,800 to $2,200.
We've got 21 miles of dirt road, 20, whatever.
And they are grading them right now, it would be fantastic to put calcium chloride down, they are very dusty right now, they're getting touched up for winter. But,
Is that how you came?
if it starts to snow next week, that would not be good, that would be a mess, that would be a muddy mess, so,
Is that how you came up with the 40,000?
yes.
So we're planning on doing all the roads?
We plan on doing all the roads, I mean, it's, last year was do the main travel roads and in front of the houses on the other roads, but we're able to get away with not applying that this year. But if we have to next year, that'll still again afford us to apply calcium chloride in front of the homes, on the lesser travel roads and the main travel roads.
Yeah, cause that would be one application over the whole 20 miles, the 40 grand, right?
Yeah,
That's not doing a double.
correct,
wow,
correct. I mean, you figure that 20,000, approximate, or 17,000 and change that was spent this year, that was to do, I know the miles on the top of my head and I can't think of it. It's 5.72 miles, right? I believe is what it did.
wow,
Yeah, we got like 7,600 charged, so. But right now, we're not planning on doing
She's done.
all the roads, we're only planning on doing the mainly traveled dirt.
We got 17.
Should be 17 that we spent.
17 we spent.
Oh, I'm looking at 2023 actual, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're,
Yeah,
Budget
17,350,
Yeah.
yeah. So, what my question is do we want to increase that to cover all our roads? That's the question.
No.
Okay, I'm just asking the question because we know that that's preventative maintenance because we lose all the material. And that's why you're seeing the hard roads for what you did. We know that, so penny wise, pound foolish is all I'm saying. So, as long as we understand it, I understand, I don't wanna increase anything, but I just
Right,
wanna make it known that we ought to at least be doing some of it.
Chris, can you talk about the signs?
yeah, I was gonna ask that.
Right for the bag.
Somebody dropping a tree?
No, there's an air horn on Route 25.
Oh,
Usually when you have a horn like that, you wait for the bang, so.
Signs in
So
front.
I don't really know why it was that much, outside of the fact that sign purchases were extremely expensive, but, we have an order in the signs right now that are gonna be roughly the 3,500. So,
Okay.
and then our signage, is it wood, kinda? Our signage will be in good shape after this purchase comes in. We'll have adequate stock of the typical ones that get stolen and replacement,
Until they're stolen.
and
You're talking like stop signs and yield
Right.
signs and stuff.
Yeah.
What about street signs?
yeah, and street signs,
Was,
street name signs. So right now on.
who's making the street signs?
It's called, Traffic Safe is the name of the company.
So we're not having convicts doing that.
No, it's actually about half the price to have, I said Traffic Safe, Work Safe, it's
They used
half the
to.
price to have Work Safe do the
And
sign.
license plates.
That was part of the other expense too, if you take like Wilson Swamp Road, the reflective, I'm gonna call it the unfunded mandate, not to get on the soapbox thing, but DOT dictates what the town buys for signs. They want them to be so high with the letters so big with reflective material, but they don't give us money to do that, they set a regulation for what they gotta be. The price of those signs were triple or quadruple what the signs were, their standard 2 years prior to that. Obviously, I'm well versed in this because of my job in the highway department in Ospey, and we constantly change the signs. We fortunately don't have to do that. In Ospey, when they mandated that, we've been fortunate here in Effingham, the state DOT said any road, even private roads, off of Route 16, Route 28, Route 25, Route 16B, there was the responsibility of the town of Ospey Highway Department to replace those.
How do you dispose of the old ones?
Usually they become, fenders on cars, floorboards,
Or someone's.
Somebody's bar rule.
Some of them, I was gonna like buy
Walmart.
those things.
yeah,
Low
Walmart,
income coming in.
Well, that's why,
Barn.
like Libby Road, there's a lot of Libby's here, that's why I put the two stones up, had it carved in Libby.
right now, we've been fortunate, we missed stop signs, yield signs, school bus ahead of signs, mostly stop signs, speed limit signs, street signs, there's name signs. Townhouse Road was stolen at the 153 intersection, Moody Road was stolen, post and all. Townhouse, shame on me, it was laying there, I should have picked it up, I had my wife's car, I didn't have my truck, I should have got my truck and went back. Because the post and all was laying there, by the time I got back down there, the whole thing was gone. The posts are obsolete anyway, we can't use those anymore. The whole thing, like the cost, now the cost, to your point, they had to buy all new brackets, cause you have, again, the unfunded mandates, the brackets wouldn't hold the old signs, they don't tighten up enough. By the time you take the Allen set screw to turn it in enough to tighten up on the signs, they would fall, the set screw would go out the other side. So they got the new signs and they had to get new brackets, cause the new brackets were wider, right? That's why, so they have to get new signs that walk into those brackets. Well, now we have an overabundance of brackets, you go in that barn and there, the shed right there, and there's 7 cases of brackets that are useless, previously. But now we have the sign post that the brackets bolt on, because for years we had the round post. The round post, we bought caps, you go in there's 3 boxes of caps that go on the round post. Well, the round post, we have a 3-inch, the caps were for 4-inch, so those were useless.
Does the 3,500 include the cost it's gonna be to install all these?
No,
Road agent.
That was gonna be my next question.
most of the cost to replace these is done for nothing.
Who's the road agent?
Yes, since before the road agent.
Yeah, that's me.
Chris has been putting them up for a
I've been doing
long
all
time.
this, I've been doing all
I'm
the
gonna
signs,
stop
so.
painting.
Chris, can you, go over the, materials, why we went to 60? And we only expended 42.9. Last year we spent 36.5. Why'd we go to keep it at 60?
So we're still in the process of moving, I'm still going through the slips, the moving material out of the road contractor into materials. So like Evans Brothers, who is our contractor, when they send us a bill, we ask for the slip, and the bill just says, Stevens Road, Wilson Swamp Road, whatever, well, you gotta break it down. I don't expect everybody to be versed in what 3/4 BRC is, which is bankrupt gravel, BRG, sorry, BRC, I don't know what it is, right? Bankrupt gravel, the trucking and stuff like that, so I have to go through those slips. I did one today, the one I did today was another 2,800.
Something like that.
Just solid materials. Cold patch is another one. We buy a load of cold patch. We get billed right from Burke Quarry for the cold patch, 6 tons, which is a drop. That is $1,200, $1,400 just for the material. So the materials is still finalizing the slips. When they come from the contractor and breaking them down to which need to be posted to materials and which ones need to be posted to.
Where are we dropping the cold patch, Chris?
Where?
Yeah.
We did someone.
No, but I mean, you say you got a load dropped.
Oh, it's at the contractor's,
Oh, okay, it's not at the it's not on Storage Road,
no, because.
cause everybody would go help themselves, that's what I'm worried about.
That would happen, and there's not a machine there to load it into a 1-ton to deliver it, so it is secured at the contractor's
okay.
facility.
So the materials right now, are you saying that we have some of the slips were charged to the winter and should have been charged to the summer?
No, they're charged to contractor as opposed to materials.
Okay,
And Dave, there's also our match, which is a big thing. We have to come up with $7,000 to fix Mullen Philbrook Road. So that's gonna be the other thing too,
With the
for
FEMA.
2025, because we got the FEMA money for 18,000, it's estimated that that's gonna cost 25,000. So we have to come up with a $17,000 match. That would come out, and it's materials, it's gravel and erosion stone is gonna be our contribution, so.
so obviously,
That's why we'll leave
until you
that.
straighten that out, you don't wanna adjust it till you can see exactly what you have.
Correct, and then unfortunately, the next year we'll have better hand as long as we don't get tremendous rain, but we need to, in order to get that $18,000 and keep that $18,000, not to have to pay it back, we have to mitigate any future erosion by doing it right, so our match is 7,000, so a lot of it will come out of that 2025.
Any other questions? Vicky?
Yeah, the road agent, this evidently is new, and who
Yes.
is it?
Road agent is Kevin Downs. Kevin Downs he still works for the contractor Ron Evans. He was primarily the guy that was doing the work for us anyway. Was my original first pick, I was very happy and very fortunate to get the support of the other 2 selectmen to go with this. I thought that it may be a conflict of interest at first, and contrary, it's actually worked out and it's been a tremendous savings to us. We will see a savings, I ask you to be patient and we've already seen the savings. If we have the contractor come out for a tree down, that contractor, and absolutely, that his time is just as valuable as anybody else's. That contractor for safety and liability, he's gonna send 2 people, he's gonna send it 1 ton, he's billing at $65 an hour, he's billing at $40 an hour for a chainsaw, he's billing at $75 for a 1 ton. So for a tree down, you're looking at $200 to $400, sorry, excuse me. If we call the road agent, he has the old cruiser, he has a chainsaw on the back and a case, he skips out for a couple hours at $30 an hour and paid $60.
Okay.
So, I mean, the 1 month.
It's already happened.
It's already happened just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
He was out with these guys, he was out with you guys last,
Whatever night it was, we shut down Providence Lake, kind of.
And the big thing you wanna note on this is that if you look at the road contractor, it actually reduced it by 20,000 to put that into the
Yeah.
road agent.
Yeah.
So it is an overall increase for the road agent. But the thing that I wanna make sure the budget committee remembers, especially the new people, road agent, actually the roads have always been the responsibility of one of the selectmen, that's their primary purpose. So you probably will get questions in a public hearing or from maybe some, people get out there, hear about it, but to me, the big thing is what Chris just said, and we're not increasing the budget because of it. We're taking the money out of the road contractor fund and letting him do some of that work as opposed to asking the road contractor to go out and do it. So, just so you're aware of how people will be asking, what are we doing with the road contract? It's always been a selectman since I've been here, since I was, a kid or whatever, I don't know, you know what I mean?
And for many, many years, to Dave's point, the road agent was the duty of whoever that contractor was for that season. For many, many years, right up until the late nineties, whoever the road agent was, be it for the winter or the summer, and for many, many years, my entire childhood, that individual just had to be the same person, just like it was with Evans Brothers for many, many, 17 years, almost, with the exception of 1 year, Digging Does had the summer roads contract, but outside of that, they were the contractor. And it was their duty to be the road agent, and then the Board of Selectmen in the early 2000s took that duty upon themselves. And the contractor didn't wanna be the quote-unquote road agent. So we are going back to the way it was, you have one contact person at 12 to 15 hours a week. He's doing the road assessments, that's another big thing. We get a heavy wind, we get a heavy rain. He drives around, checks for washouts, drives around with a chainsaw in his truck. After a heavy windstorm, cleans up the roads, as opposed to the contractor billing us at $60 plus an hour.
So my next question is, what if there's an injury to the road agent? Is the town responsible, or do they do?
No, the town is responsible.
He's an employee.
So he is part of the insurance and all that,
He's part of that FICA and stuff like that.
okay,
Not the health insurance.
Not the health.
FICA,
Okay.
Primex,
Yeah.
and again, it's 12 to 15 hours a week. Anything, when you see him in the grader, that's not for us, that's for Evans Brothers Construction. When you see him in their white, God bless you.
Thank you.
You see him in the Dodge pickup truck, putting out coal patch, that's for Evans Brothers, that's not for the town of Effingham.
yep, okay.
Everybody good with that? Okay,
I think it's a good idea.
so the motion on the table is for 4312 highways and streets for $604,670. All those in favor signify aye or nay.
Rosina,
Isn't that guy?
Kirkwood, aye.
Wells,
Pillsman, aye.
Regal eye,
Strauss, aye. Thank you,
Couldn't even
Chris.
remember if you made a motion for that one, Dave.
yeah, he did.
Leo made sure I did. Right, Leo?
yep.
Thank you, Leo. I hope you did. Now you got me second guessing myself, Scott.
That was such a long discussion, I was like, did he even motion for this?
Uh,
Wanna start over, Chris?
I tried to go fast, I'm sorry.
Okay, page 15, 4323 solid waste collection. I'll make a motion to approve the select board submitted amount of $86,300. Is there a second,
I'll
Rose?
second.
Thank you.
Yes, I will.
All right, any questions? Let me see what I got for notes in the back here.
I see the salaries went down.
Yes, we only have 3 people not full-time, but 3 days a week versus 4.
Which
Yep.
is who?
More.
Does it matter?
Yeah, I see different people there all the time.
Well,
and I
because there's
just
a lot
didn't know if- I mean, every time I go to the dump, there's someone new,
There's
it's like, who the
there's
hell?
Mark's,
What?
there's a lot of personal with Bill out on, medical leave. Bill's out on medical leave.
Oh, okay.
And
Well,
Mark-
well, I don't know why, but I just was.
That's why we had the
wondering
backups, the part-time, well, they're all
who- Oh,
part-time, but
okay, alright,
that's why you're seeing different people.
okay.
So we have
I-
2 backups and 3 sort of like
Regulars.
regulars, there you go,
Okay, which is Brad and
Bill and Mark,
and Mark.
Oh, Bill's his name?
And-
Yeah.
Thanks.
and Bill's only, Wednesdays and
When-
Saturdays, and
right.
Sundays either, Lenny or Charlie will back up. Cover.
Yeah, okay, I just, every time we go there's.
So
It's okay, it's a-
Someone new and it's like, who are these
Well, they're not
people,
new.
you know?
Oh, you know those people.
Oh, just some more people staying around.
So the decrease is basically, we're dropping down to 3 people as opposed to 4, that's why the salary dropped.
Correct.
And I noticed hazardous waste is 0. So we're not gonna contribute to the hazardous waste program anymore. So that means that we can't put in, or,
Wow, what did it cost, what?
For the 12 people, and I questioned the 12, I think somebody was miscalculated, the 11 people.
11.
Traveled to Marlboro and Tupperboro, that equated to $295 per head.
Wow.
Whereas if you have a hazard and the thing I tried to get across to the taxpayers, I tried to, and we all did, but when I spoke at town meeting, was, they're taking so much less material. They used to take 10 gallons, they got it to 5. They weren't taking fluorescent bulbs, they weren't taking batteries, lithium ion batteries, they weren't taking mercury anymore. So it's like they're basically not taking anything, they cut it in half, they increased our contribution almost double or more than double of what they wanted from us. And that was because a lot of towns are backing out because they're doing less. So it's like, okay, all of us are paying for 11 people to go dump off that household hazardous waste, and you can do that. You can pay now to do it. So what we were proposing, what we discussed, is we are getting a list, and there are 3 days a month, right? That the town of Wolfboro has dump days, hazardous waste days, you can go, we're going to post it at the transfer station, it'll be on the website, I'll put the materials and the fee schedule. So if you have a fluorescent light bulb, or you got
Oil paint.
or something like that, you want to
Okay.
dispose of, you can take it to, there are drop-off places. Motor oil is a big one. I actually just got educated on this when I was bringing this today, because I was standing at the cashier. Tractor Supply at no cost, they do limit it to 10 gallons per visit, they take used motor oil, it can't have any contaminants in it, so if you have a blown head gasket, you believe there might be antifreeze in it or water, it has to be strictly oil, but they take used motor oil right at Tractor Supply.
You know, Riley's does, Riley's does too.
Riley's has
So-
too, yeah.
But that's free, but hazardous materials, our opinion is, it's never gonna come back to this area, most likely. So our residents are gonna have to drive to Marlboro, Tupperboro anyway. So instead of us ponying and being on the backs of all the taxpayers, if you have something to get rid of,
Do you know what
Go to
that's gonna take effect? Like when it
we
was-
have to have that's not part of the public hearing. She asked when it will take effect. Technically, it could now, anybody, we just.
We could drive to
You can go
Wolfboro.
over the-
You can now.
Yeah,
You
go on the
go
website, Vicky, and then you can see what they'll take and what their days are and what their pricing schedule is, it's right on the Wolfboro.
Oh, cool,
Yeah,
okay.
you can do that anytime, we just don't have, we don't have
Okay.
our stuff together to post it yet, so.
That's a
And we're gonna-
viable
We're gonna put those
solution.
links and
That's
things
a good
inside
savings, though.
the manual, so our
2,200
policies, so
last
people
year.
can refer to it.
Cool.
To date.
Okay, that's good info to have for our meeting when someone
Yeah.
asks that. Or we get that from a citizen,
Tonight.
yep.
We one person, there's 12 people, and they said that one showed up in Laconia. We weren't invited to Laconia. The first thing you do when you go to the household hazardous waste, you gotta meet the people and you check in. And, if you weren't on their list, then they turned you right away. I did it, I volunteered for 7 years, not consecutive, but 7 times in the station in Ossipee. And I was right there with the check-in people, and if you weren't, like it wasn't your day, then you couldn't go there. So I'm guessing somebody accidentally checked off the box for Laconia, that Effingham resident went to Laconia, or they let them slip through, but I talked to Dave Jeffers, and he said, no, they would've got turned away, maybe somebody just checked the box, so it was only 11 heads that went.
Wow.
So was actually, if it was 11 heads, it was $311, I think.
And you can see on this budget sheet that the
Yeah.
telephone was moved to 4194, so that caused an additional decrease. Any other questions on solid waste collection?
Nope.
I think it's the first time we've ever seen anything to do with the transfer station go down. This is excellent.
Okay, so the motion on the table is for 4323 solid waste collection for the select board approved amount of 86,300. All those in favor, signify aye and nay.
Racina.
Mr. McInerney.
Kirkwood, aye.
Wells,
Those nine.
Regal, aye.
Charles, aye. Now we go to disposal on page 16. Disposal. I'll make a motion to approve 4324 solid waste disposal for the select board approved amount of 92,250.
I'll second.
Rose second. And I'll make note here that containers other are all detailed together there for the total.
Oh, okay.
And why it's 0 there,
Why is it 0?
I don't know, why is it, Leo?
I didn't see it.
Add
You were
that up,
here.
add that up,
Should be the same, all the numbers, no, minus 1,500 on the metal,
650.
so 7,250?
You can do that.
Yeah, minus the 1,500, you mean?
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah, 7,250 goes in the budget request amount, the total other.
Mhm.
What do you got that on that sheet? You can see
7,000.
7,250. And the total, I believe, will be 87,250, which is right.
Yeah, I should probably, on Excel, just add it all up.
Yeah, I'll add it when I do the final duplicate one. That's all. Alright,
What'd you get for a total again?
87,250.
Should be 92,250.
the bottom of 87,250, it still stays what it is, as this budget request.
Okay.
And the select board amount is 92,250. And the reason for that is because it went up 5,000 on the top line.
8,
You can,
8,000, should be 88,000.
88, excuse me, that's my crazy ugly writing.
In which case 92 is a different number. It's not 92.
Nope.
Yeah,
What'd you get, Chuck?
85,250?
At $3,000,
Yeah,
is that 88?
95,250.
I have a question, why is metal 0, does it cancel itself out?
Go ahead, you brought the idea, you the one that got the contractor.
Yeah, we're getting paid for metal now. We no longer have that
95,250.
contract agreement where we pay the fuel surcharge for
I got
$250 per
92,250,
container.
Dave.
Yeah,
So
92,250.
we're getting paid for that now. So
95.
Just wait a minute, hold on.
Wait.
we're gonna have a public hearing where we're gonna be revisiting the fee schedule at the transfer station. One of those is we're no longer gonna be billing our residents for dropping off metal that we in turn get paid for, so.
Okay. Well, thank you for that
Ricky,
I got 95,250 also,
efforts
Vicky,
towards this.
95.
95,250.
95, you said 92.
95.
No,
yeah, that's $3,000, cause they
I
added,
said
it.
95, but he said 92.
they thought it was 85, it was 88.
so
I
Bob
meant
figures
also,
95.
I meant also, sorry. Everybody good 95,250, cause the top line is 88,000.
Right, okay.
So now somebody dropped.
The reason I had that is cause I had that as 85
Old TVs.
on the top line, I didn't realize that my writing, I thought the 5 was an
Oh, there, you're writing.
8. It was, I scribbled it in.
Okay.
Hopefully, you can go back and look what your motion is. Do you remember?
Do you remember?
I think that's right, huh?
No, I had 9250 from my original, so we'll probably have to make another motion
I was
to,
gonna say, don't we have to?
I had that as 85 is what you
I got-
guys approved,
I got
it's
the
not
payroll.
88.
The motion was 92,250, the original
The
motion.
original motion, 92,250, yeah.
when we approved it last week.
Yeah, I had you guys going up 5,000 on the containers.
Not 8, going up.
Yeah, that's what I had you approved.
We met at 92,250.
What is going
So
on?
the top line is not
Something's
80.
going on.
This line is 85,
Then the bottom line's 92,250.
yeah, not 88, it's 85.
When we voted,
This
Yeah, we
one,
voted, this is my writing, 92,250.
was
Jesus
85 when we
Christ.
voted?
yeah, that's what I
That's
had,
what I thought.
that's what I had on my sheet. You voted at 85 and
The
it,
top line is
And I see it as 88
didn't bring my stuff.
on your
Mine
sheet.
looks like an 88 too.
It's an 88.
I had 85 on
It's
mine.
either a sloppy 85 or it's 80.
It's an 88. It looks like 88.
What is it supposed to be?
And you approved 92,250,
Right, which means it was 85.
which means it was 85.
Okay,
So it went up 5,000.
no,
That would have been correct.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Yes, you're right, it went up 5,000.
Alright, so
5,000,
it's-
okay.
So
which is which is not bad.
So it is a 92,250.
That's what I have in my sheet, 92, that's what I wrote down last week.
Right,
That's what I
And that's
had.
what I put my initials on.
okay,
I have 85.
Good, 85.
okay.
92,250.
That's what I had in there.
Motion good.
Okay, so the motion.
Yeah, maybe I'm crazy on my 5s and 8s, but I had 5. So the 92,250 is what we already motioned, which is the correct.
Correct.
Meaning your top line for containers went up from 80 to 85.
That's where I was confused when you
Right.
talked about.
Everybody got that?
5,000 each. I was going, what?
So we're 92,250.
Okay, that's what I got.
Okay.
Thank you,
Take care,
take care.
JT.
Night, JT.
You don't wanna have fun with this?
Cody go.
Been a long day for him.
Cody's in the bathroom.
Everybody good with that?
Going to the fridge.
Okay, so the motion on the table is to approve 4324 solid waste collection for 92,250. All those in favor signify aye and nay.
Racine, aye.
Weissenbeck, aye.
Crackwood, aye.
Wells eye.
Okay.
Regal eye.
Strauss aye.
I hear the microphone, pick that up.
Okay.
And the flush?
For the record, I'm in the kitchen, not the bathroom.
Just for the
I'm glad I
record.
didn't hear a flush then.
All right, we're on page 17. Let's see if we can swing through this,
You
baby.
need to get out of the gutter.
Right.
Page 17, which is solid waste cleanup, 4325. I'll make a motion to approve the select board submitted amount of 11,850.
I'll second.
And Caitlin did contact our engineering to make sure that the amount that we have allocated for 2025 to do the inspections is correct, the amounts we have listed. And the PFAS of 1250, she had that verified too, so the engineering that we have actually checked that, agrees with that amount.
That is Stantec's contracted total for 2025. The monitoring, the PFAS monitoring, the wells went down by 2, or will be going down by 2. That's the well.
So do you have any questions on the wells?
Right, no.
Did I do the motion already?
Yes,
You did?
Okay.
we did the motion.
Okay, so the motion on the table, 4325 solid waste cleanup for 11,850. All those in favor signify aye or nay.
Racine, aye.
Weissenbeck, aye.
Crackwood, aye.
Those are nice.
Regal eye.
Strauss, aye. Okay, we're on page 18. 18 is health administration. We'll make a motion to approve 4411 health administration for the select board approved amount of $4,050.
I'll second.
No second. This is the one,
Equivalent, yeah.
we don't have a deputy on that one, that's the health officer, right?
Who is the health officer right now?
Bill Pycott?
Pycott? All right. I thought he was the treasurer.
Yes.
He is,
Okay,
Is he putting in for
going
mileage?
to, all right.
Nope,
he
I
has,
see we haven't paid for mileage.
no. But we should keep it in there.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying we should take it out. I'm
I
just-
mean, he's eligible to put it in if he wants to put in for it. Or if he has used it, but
Okay.
anybody have any questions on what the health officer is or what they do?
I have a question exactly. We're not in a thumb Reader's Digest, what's the health officer doing for us? Or is it just mandated that we have one?
So on a routine basis, he has to do like, some building permits and new septics and stuff like that, he has to sign off on those after they're state approved. That is his most routine thing, outside of his health things along with the fire chief for the daycare center and, the treatment center on the hill.
Or in addition to any issues with houses that have these.
Right, but I just meant those are his typical routine.
Right.
And when we found barrels of human waste, the health officer was involved in that too.
Okay, all right, just wanted to find out, okay, good. Thank you for that.
Any
No
other
more detail
questions?
needed.
Huh?
No more detail needed.
Well, there was a couple times for that. Any other questions on the health
Didn't wanna
officer?
dirty the ground with it, so.
So
Of course not.
so if someone builds something and then whatever, they have to put in the septic and whatever, then he goes out.
He has to sign off on the septic
He has
as
to
well.
sign
Yep.
off it?
Yep,
Okay.
that's state statute, that's state mandate, the health officer has to. So if you look at like Beck, the zoning officer's monthly reports, whatever, and you look at her chart, you'll see waiting health officer's approval, that's on new construction stuff. So he has, after the state issues the septic design, then he has to, sign off on it as well, he or she, the health officer.
So I'm gonna ask this question here. So if someone goes to Rebecca, gets an approval to build, and they build, does anyone go out and check what they built is what is supposed?
We don't have a building inspector.
So-
We don't have code enforcement. Everything
Because we don't have codes.
enforcement. We never have, and we're a long ways from that, so. I can tell you that you'd be adding some ones in front of that 50 cent increase to our,
All we have is a building permit,
right.
no habitability.
So really, there's no accountability as far as making sure that what they build is what they came and got a permit for.
Well, we got the
Right?
planning board and all that stuff that.
They don't go out and do,
No,
They
and
don't
but-
do that. The only, I will say that,
so
The
if someone
state
could say,
of
we're
New
gonna
Hampshire-
have a shed,
Wait a
and they
minute,
could
Vicky.
build a Taj Mahal, and no
Yeah.
one would know.
well, no, we still have to, I mean,
Assessors,
that's, the assessors pick up on that.
Yeah, but that could be every 5 years,
no,
right?
it's every year.
No, they do it
That's
yearly.
It could be 5 years, but we also have nosy neighbor syndrome, so, right?
Well, Vicky, I mean, if you apply for a permit, you're almost guaranteed that the Avatar or the new assessor is gonna be checking your property.
Well,
Within a
actually,
year.
there is a nosy neighbor next to somebody, and they're too afraid to say anything. So,
So
But
if you applied for a shed and you build a Taj Mahal, that shed is still gonna be a pickup for Avatar or for
For the
KDI,
assessing company.
for Kenny Rogers,
in the next time that we have
right?
an assessment, which could be,
No,
they,
it would be the building permit.
they get a building permit, I guarantee you, I know I've been through it quite a few times, they come to my house
okay,
and they come and verify that what you
who
built,
comes?
the Avatar or,
Avatar,
Yeah.
or the new next
Or our
year,
assessor.
Kenny Rogers,
Kenny Rogers,
Kenny Rogers.
The gambler.
Gotta know when to hold them.
that's KRT, that's his name.
And know when to hold them.
within how much time?
Within the summer,
What are you planning, Vicky?
Huh?
within the summer, I mean, within the time
Are
frame.
you building a casino?
Within the
No,
town,
but I think someone is.
I think that's probably true in a lot where you don't have that many controls, but.
Absolutely. Okay.
Okay, any other questions on the health officer?
No.
Alright, motion on the table to approve health officer for flat line, same as last year for $4,050. All those in favor, signify aye and nay.
Christina,
Listen, that guy.
Crocodile.
Well,
Those and I.
Regal eye.
Strong side. Alright, now we turn to page, what number is that?
Going to
19.
19 next, maybe.
General assistance. After many years of doing this, we have come to the determination for the new people that this amount pretty much handles what we have for the town.
Motion.
So I'll make a motion first to do 4442, general assistance for the select board approved amount of $12,600.
I'll
Thank you, Rose. Rose seconded that. So 12,000 is pretty much the number that we've come up with for all the years, the last at least 6 that I remember that we've been doing. That's a good number to keep because we have to, one person could blow this out of the water. We all understand that, and it's the same thing that's mandated, that you have to pay for this. You have, regardless of what you budget for it, the town has to pay for it.
Right.
So what we found out through years of history is this amount is a sufficient amount providing we don't have a catastrophic thing happen of a family move in with 6 people and say they all need help.
And they're all crippled, right?
Yeah, I mean, for everything that we've had over the years, this has been sufficient to handle the normal workload that we have for this department.
Okay, and anything that's not spent goes back into the general fund, right?
Goes right back into, as with any budget, except for conservation, and
Well, that's why there's some exceptions, I wanna make sure this is not an
this
exception.
is not one of those exceptions. Yep, this one goes right back in, Steve. Any other questions on general assistance?
The telephone.
Mhm.
Is that for the,
Cell phone,
It's a town cell phone that she has.
it's a town cell phone?
she gets calls from all the different people who are looking for assistance, so they don't
Okay.
call her personal number.
Okay, so the bill actually comes here.
Yep,
You
Yes,
can tell if there's an extraordinary amount of non-business activity on the phone.
Well, there's no
No.
extra charge, it's just a.
It's a standard charge.
Yeah, it's a standard charge, you're not even,
There's overages,
there's no
Cody.
long distance charges, it not, depends on the plan.
Well, then ask them what the fucking plan is. I mean, I'm just saying, I wanna know if there's a check on it,
You know, you
that's
can
all.
swear.
I wanna know if there's a check on it.
Yes, there is a check on it, so we have multi-phones on the town's plan, the fire chief has a phone, police officers have phones. The road agent has a phone, so because we have a group plan, it's unlimited. So it's unlimited, and then we break that down per budget, this is the breakdown at $600 for the,
That's all, I just wanted, I was actually just wondering whose phone
yeah,
was
there's a
being
check
used through this, that's what my,
just for
town
one.
phone.
I know, it's right.
okay.
but I mean, we can't verify, I mean, we don't verify the records of the phone.
Who she
calls.
called to, or who called her.
Right,
Yeah,
because
that is not
it's a
verified,
plan, I mean,
Right.
unlimited plan.
oh, and Chris, the road
Where
agent,
did the actual in 2023 of $201 come from?
Now is the big.
sitting in the office.
What do you say?
That I believe was from
Before the cell phones?
before the cell phone, because it wasn't until 2024 that she actually got her own personal phone.
Okay,
Is it this
see,
year?
that was my question, was because of that 2023 actual I was looking at going,
What's it?
is this
Oh, no, excuse me,
a personal
2024,
phone or what?
we did get that, you're right, no, Steve, the 2023 was, we started,
Yes,
that was a partial year that we paid for the phone for her when we first started. So that was a town phone partial.
Because before there was an arrangement made for, she was compensated for using her own phone, her
Yeah.
own laptop, her own paper, her own cell phone, and, you know, when we found out, I was like, nay.
well, yeah, especially what,
Who is the
Client
general
she's working
assistance
with.
person?
Westy
Trustee.
Krista,
It is Westy, okay.
Okay, any other questions on assistance?
Nope.
Okay, motion on the table, which I did do. It's 4442, general assistance for $12,600. All those in favor signify aye and nay.
Christine, aye.
Listen back, aye.
Kirkwood, I,
question.
Wells, yes.
Hilton, I.
Regal eye,
Strauss, aye.
So you got one more for a motion.
And this one ought to be, okay, so we're turning to page 20.
this is the one we're looking for, Dave? Yeah,
Wanna pass that down?
last one?
Oh, I already printed mine, I think, is that what this is?
No,
No, it's a use.
wanna pass that down, Steve?
Nope,
I'll give you
Oh, it
one.
could be.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, use
Oh, yeah.
you show us the other page.
I was smelling it up there. You wanna print this one?
Thank you.
No.
You guys get one?
you have
Yeah,
to
I
memo,
gave them one of
you
them.
have to memorize this top paragraph.
So what we have here is I'll make a motion to approve 4520 Parks and Recreation for the select board approved amount of $45,000. Rose, second that?
Yep,
Alright, so what you have additionally before you is, I went back to the Parks and Rec, something by the contract that we have with them, that we go up 5,000 a year, we have one more year in that to go up to 50,000. So then they'll have to either renegotiate a new contract, or Ospey will agree that we met the 25%, and they're good with it. However, the select board decides to handle that, but right now
What do you
they
mean?
have a contract to go until we meet 50,000 next year, will be the last year on the contract. We go up 5,000 a year to pay for
No, I
that.
understand that, you said something about 25%.
If you read this, it shows that we're about 25%
The
of
last
usage.
page, yeah.
The last page, I've got it, I got it highlighted on yours?
So if they agree that we need 25% and nothing above that,
Yeah,
then we only
24%, yeah.
25% of what their cost is, which is they have 50, nothing more.
Do you know what
So
the,
this one, next one over, Steve, you see Effingham is 24%, I think I circled it,
We did.
Dave?
24% Effingham.
You didn't circle it, so.
No, I didn't see anything circled.
Okay, do we know what the cost of the rec department there at Ospey is?
Yes, we do, as a matter of fact, I asked for that
What is
today.
that?
The rec department that Ossipee has for budget is $226,505. And Matt wants us to make sure that we understand that this does not include maintenance of our field and facilities, as that comes under the government buildings budget, which is not included in that figure. So in other words, they
I know that.
maintain the field or whatever, we knew that, but
Do other towns have a percentage that they're paying, or is it just Effingham?
Effingham is the only town that goes to Ospey besides Ospey.
Really?
That is correct.
Oh, Freedom?
No,
no, he does have other towns,
There are other towns that go.
That's it.
other town participants in his runoff that go. And Matt does charge them a rate
Does
to
he
go to
charge
that.
them a?
I'm saying
And I don't have
that rate.
And I had kids from Freedom in it. But the Parks and Rec didn't, so I don't know how that works.
That's always been one of my questions, Chris,
When you
with
say
this
that-
Ossipee, is that there are other towns going and we're paying an awful lot of money for town-wide, if you do a percentage of how many people in town utilize it. It's,
I mean, it's on the, it's that under,
right,
It's 106 people that they recorded,
yeah.
which is
right,
6% of our population that 100%
6%.
of the town's paying for.
exactly,
Right.
exactly.
So, my question is, how do we advertise this? Cause until I joined the budget committee, I didn't even know this was a thing. Like, how do we get more people to take advantage of this, because we're paying so much money for it?
So they would have to either go to Ossipee and see what they have available
No,
around
no,
town.
but just
Come to the office or whatever.
just
or-
knowing that it was available, like, I had no idea it was available, so.
Wants to say something.
Chuck, go for it.
So I can answer a few of those questions.
Thank you, Chuck.
So they have offered to put together a one-pager for us, give it to us, and put it up on our website. I never followed up on that to see if that actually ever came over to us.
No, it
And I'm
hasn't.
sure they would be willing to create that. The other thing is, the list, the stuff you're looking at here is the only thing they have software to track.
Okay.
The town beach is available, and I know people in town here that use their town beach. Constitution Park's available, and I know people that use Constitution Park. The dog park's available, and I know people that use the dog park. Skating's available, and I know people that use the ice skating rink. And the hiking paths over toward Ospey Lake, I know people that use the hiking path. All of these events, beyond just the kids' events that are tracked, are available to our town. And people do take advantage of it. The problem is there's no way to, and they admit it, there's no way to measure all the other things that I just mentioned.
Yeah, including what he has listed
And how
here.
do they measure if other people from other towns are going to Constitution Park? There's no.
Or doing the
there's no-
walk.
Or doing the walk or whatever.
they don't,
They
but
can't.
that's,
So we're paying for them to go.
Other
to
towns
that,
are
right?
getting,
so we get into this every single year.
I
If you
know we
think
do,
for
I
a second
know.
that we can take care of the kids in this school and give them some recreation for less than $50,000,
Can't do it.
there's,
If it was, this is from me, if it was for the kids, I have no problem with it. But we have parents' night out, we've got February vacation open gym, paint night, adult dodgeball, parents' night out, half-day camp. It's like, so we're
look-
paying for
no,
a
no.
few adults to go, right?
So
I
you
think
gotta look at those totals, so like vacation, open gym, that's people that, we have to work and they go drop their kids off at the gym. at
So it's a
Ospey School.
daycare,
Essentially, yes,
Yeah, so we're paying for a daycare for them.
for our kids, for our
For our
Effingham
kids, for
kids.
Effingham, yeah.
Yeah,
I would say in the grand scheme of things in the relationship, just from like what I know of the community and the kids and stuff, the difference that you can maybe find an argument in here, the value is way beyond the grand scheme of it. Am I right in saying that?
Absolutely, and the fact
The
of the
value
matter
to
is
who?
that,
The taxpayer?
I think the fact that it gets lost.
As a
that
whole, yeah, if you're looking at the community and not as an individual.
This,
Well,
this.
maybe the taxpayer should have a voice on it then.
They did.
If they should, they do.
Meeting, they always vote for it. I understand that, but for next time.
well, let's keep in mind, I mean, we had this discussion 2 years ago when we level funded this budget. We were on it. We know it went to the town meeting, you guys don't know this. It went to the town meeting, we publicized that we zero funded this. Because we wanted the town to know that we were gonna be entering into an agreement that costs a lot of money for after-school activities. Mostly,
Multi-year agreement.
mostly, well, at first it was mostly for children. There is some adult stuff involved in that that's available for adults too. And we all know, we ended up getting, instead of our normal 94, we ended up with 194, at least 100 came. That, and we know overwhelmingly that the town wants us. We understand, and nobody better than me understands that I have a hard time paying after-school activities when the town needs money. But I understand this is what the town wants.
Majority.
The majority of the town, we know this from the town meeting that they want this program for the kids. And they've already went and made that crystal clear from the way they presented themselves at the town meeting. So regardless of the fact of whether or not some of us feel that this is something we could cut because it's after school, the town wants this. And that's why we entered into an agreement with a contract of Ossipee to level fund it. Myself and Mr. Fuller sat through many meetings to work up a contract because one of the hard spots was they were hitting us with big increases. And they agreed to go with a contract and get this, fund this out over a few years so we wouldn't feel so much pain. Because they were talking about rising us up right off to the 50,000. Because we're 25%, 24% usage of the program, of the tracked program, okay? And we all had the same thing, Rose, you know that, we all had the same feelings that and Vicky, we know that there's adult programs in there, we know there's other
Well,
stuff for
you
use.
gotta remember too, we didn't have a lot of this information either.
We had some of the information, not all of
We
it,
didn't
We didn't
have,
have details.
yeah.
no, we didn't.
But I would love to see us find another way to do this, but right now I know this is what the town wants, and I know that we minimize the impact as a budget committee as much as we can with help from the select board to get a contract to level fund this over many years, and I understand that. You know,
And also, I mean, for us to support this program, Effingham itself, you're talking 200,000 plus. If we had to put fields out, all that type of programs, what they're providing.
oh, yeah,
Yeah, no, there's no question that, you know, we couldn't
And we
do
couldn't
that.
do everything what they're doing.
So what's the
However-
alternative?
go ahead, Rose.
However, okay, we're paying an awful lot of money for school. The schools have programs, and I know the parents can't get the kids there, they need the buses, they need this. I've heard all of the pros and cons, that they don't use the school programs, the kids don't like those school programs that the school offers, they want these extras, I've heard it all. My feeling is, as a budget person, if I'm budgeting and our stuff is really going up high, you have to look at necessities. The roads are necessity, okay? The rec center is a luxury. I mean, I understand parents are gonna say it's a necessity because their kids are involved. I understand that, I've had children. I made sure that my kids got to wherever they had to go, and I picked up the tab and got that for them. I understand the problems they have, I understand it's a daycare. But when you're looking at money for budgeting,
Yeah. well,
especially as you know, people are falling behind in their taxes. And we just keep racking up. This year it's gonna be what, 45? Next year is 50?
Next
Then
year.
it's gonna be what, 55, 60, 75? Are we going to then go to, what was the number, $226,000?
So which
Is
are,
that gonna be our responsibility eventually?
No,
no,
based on the percentage, right now, we're 24% of that number, and that's what I wanted you to see this, that's,
Which
so
comes
it
out-
looks like the 50 would be
Mhm,
roughly,
yeah.
roughly the 24% of that budget.
which is 56,626.
I just, well, you know, I mean, I
Oh,
understand
yeah.
the town is, if the town's gonna go for it, I understand
We
it, I
debated
understand
this hard during the
majority,
budget committee
exactly.
when we zeroed it.
My personal opinion is, as you all know, because I've expressed it before, it's a luxury. So that's just my opinion, and I know the town is gonna vote for it anyway, but this is where can let my
Understand,
opinion out.
I understand
When
100%.
they, the town doesn't get their taxes paid, they'll figure it out.
Chris?
So I just wanted to clarify something, so Rose, you made reference to school sports, the schools have programs. The schools don't have programs until you get to the high school. The middle school, the elementary school programs are run through Ospey Rec. Our Wildcats, our soccer team, our basketball team, our court sports, softball, Little League, they're all, that are on these lists, whatever, these are all run through the Ospey Rec, they're not through Governmental School District.
Well, then I don't understand how there's school programs if they're
What, they're
running
not school
through.
programs, they're rec
Their
programs,
rec program.
through the school.
So the school doesn't have
Have
any
anything-
programs at
Not
all?
until you get to middle school, not until you get to
The
Kingswood.
7th grade.
You can, there is like, Babe Ruth, baseball, which isn't through Government Wentworth, that's through a New Hampshire league. You can pay extra for your kid to do Babe Ruth. You can pay extra for travel softball if you have an excelling 9, 10, 8-year-old, but to go on those teams, you can't just go. You can't just pay for your kid to go, here's my money, so my kid is on the team. You kid actually has to make the team when you get to that level. Those aren't run through the school district or through Ospey Rec. There are no elementary school programs through Government School District. Our Wildcats, that's what we're called, the parents buy the uniforms, if they're on a team, they buy their jerseys, and all of those programs are run through, and they're listed right here. They're the softball, they're the soccer, those are to participate in sporting programs. If we have 11 kids for basketball or, and there's only 11 kids in that 6th grade, and only 3 or 4 wanna play basketball, they go and play basketball with 3 or 4s. And I know nobody has a time machine, we can't go back, but I also have to add, for 40 years, the town of Effingham did not pay their share to the Ospey Rec. When I played basketball, soccer, baseball through Ossipee Rec, Curly Nudd was my basketball coach at Ospey Central School. I'd go there 2 nights a week. The town of Effingham paid the town of Ospey Recreation Department nothing. I played for Earnshaw Lumber, I paid for Sunnyville and Little League, so did my brothers. Yes, there weren't a lot of kids there, but when I went to this school, we were through Ospey Rec, and the town of Effingham didn't pay anything.
So then
And it was like that until the 90s.
okay.
And then we started paying them $5,000, and they went from 5 to
Right.
10
I know,
for 20 plus years.
yeah, no, I remember all of that going over this for a while. My big thing is, it just seems to me that Effingham is the only town that is really holding up any part of responsibility, because I know that the certain other towns are not part of the Governor Wentworth district. What other schools are those towns that are going through there? Is everyone being treated fairly? Sort of like with the school, the way they figure everything out. I
Well,
mean, it's,
when you see the other, there's like other, and it's 12, those are homeschool kids. So when you say other, it's not, I've heard like Freedom get tossed, cause Cody, yeah, obviously Freedom people, but we have to do a due diligence too, cause he's seen an address that's Freedom, and he knows there's Freedom kids, cause he's familiar with them. But we have to do a due diligence to make sure that there aren't Freedom kids, that live in Freedom, and they're picking up a bus cause their parents are driving them to the side of the bridge, because they want their kids to go to Ospey School or Effingham School. So that's the Board of Selectmen to look at that list
Right,
and do our detective work to say, yes, these are the pupils that
Right.
are enrolled and
That are
actually
not,
live
right.
here.
230.
Yeah, the one that we
12
do,
people,
yeah.
you gotta remember, that's homeschool. There are 4 homeschool kids that go to the Ospey Rec on Leo's Road alone. So out of that 12, there's 4 right there, and they live in Effingham, but they're not Effingham students, they're homeschool
right, the
students.
homeschool.
So those are the other. And then you have, and I'll be 100% upfront and honest with you, you have my grandson. My grandson is part of the 12. He lives with me all summer long. I live in Effingham. He lives with me, he goes to the Ospey Rec. But because he's his mother's child and her address is in Tamworth, he's the other. But we pay
I see.
a minimum of $75 a week. I pay a minimum of $75 a week for him to go to day camp. And then anything above that is extra that we have to pay. But he,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I mean, I don't wanna beat
No,
this, beat
I
this.
know, we've already.
too hard.
Yes,
I mean, basically, we got the contract, we know the people
we
want
have
it.
the contract, I know.
I know, and I understand this is what the town wants, and I understand we try to control the budget, but this to me is one thing that,
Well, there were certain things that we could
Can't do.
never do on our own anyway, like look at summer camp, 133 kids go to summer camp. We're gonna arrange a summer camp here to cut down $100 off of this 45,000? No. I mean, they were offering all sorts of stuff that.
But I do agree with what she said, I'm sorry, I know we wanna get done with this, but with what you said, you know, there are necessities and there's this. There's luxuries, but there is also a balance with quality of life. And you need to factor, and I think that needs to be factored in.
That's true.
Statistically, if you don't give kids something,
Oh,
your
yeah.
hands do devil's work.
alright, motion on the table is for 45,000, for 4520 parks
Hold
and
on one
Rec.
second.
Dave, before you move forward, just a question for clarity, so Leo seemed to indicate that if our future rate would be based on our use, which roughly 25%, is that correct?
Correct.
So my original question was, why aren't we getting more bang for the buck for this, but now, if we get more bang for the buck for this by getting more people to go, then our rate could potentially go up.
Oh, definitely,
Correct.
definitely,
Right now, we're at 24%, which is, we're getting our bang for our bucks right now, because we've got $226,505 that's what's costing Ospey, and it's only costing us, $56,626 if we use these numbers.
yep. And that's
So we're
pretty
saving
consistent.
$10,000.
Yeah,
Okay, I just wanted,
For now.
I just
We're
wanted.
actually saving a lot more than that.
I'm just going by the numbers on the
Right.
sheet.
No, but the price tag is built in because the highway maintenance department,
I understand that.
yeah,
it's really rec
But we don't.
related. Means you can increase that rec number by about another third or higher. We're getting a deal and a half.
yeah. We did state that didn't.
And we did say that in the
Matt did
middle,
put that out
we
there.
did state that.
Yeah, no, I mean, my original question was, why don't more people know about this and using it, but then if we get more use, like to your earlier point about the hazardous waste and what it's costing
We have less.
per resident, and just based on the numbers they sent, of people using, and I know there's other people using it, but we're looking at over $400 a person for the people that are actually using it, so I'm just trying to.
Scott, I made a note on it, so I'll talk to Caitlin tomorrow to contact Matt at Ospey to get this on the web. The activities.
Well, we gotta,
Well, so that's why I'm like, now if we get more people going, then potentially our future bill could be higher, based on what you said.
Percentage wise, yeah.
Yeah, percentage wise, so,
Not next year, because we've
but
already,
I'm
we're
thinking for
already in
what
the
we're paying,
contract.
why aren't more people using it, so.
Yeah,
So we don't have to wait
Right
till
now, we're
next year.
contracted.
and next year, we're only gonna be 5 because of
I
the
hear ya.
contract, even
You
if we did.
understand what I'm saying? It's like a catch 22 now.
Oh, yeah,
Absolutely.
It is.
But we have to be open to the taxpayers.
Oh, I understand that, no,
They do
my
want-
original question was about lack of use for what we're
Right.
paying. But now,
But we're still getting.
well, now that could go up if we increase the use outside of our contract, so
Well, not if you use the walking trails.
now if you use the walking trails.
But then we'd be.
I didn't even know there
benefiting
was a beach.
Children or families.
Is that on Ospey Lake?
Yep,
Yeah, right at the park.
I don't get out much.
I'm not gonna televise that, cause it says no swimming when you get down there, but Duncan Lake is a swimming beach. There is also, 2 locations, the public access in Ospey Lake, one off Nichols Road, one off in Ospey Lake Drive. And there is water access at the end of Constitution Trail, which is often, Long Sands Road behind Constitution Park.
Thank you.
It'll just be interesting next year, when the contract is up next year, right?
After next year.
After next year.
Right,
2026.
right. So it'll be interesting to see what the percentage is then, and how much they'll be asking at the end of the contract.
Oh, it's gonna be less, of course.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Okay, the motion on the table is for 45,000 for 4520 Parks and Rec. All those in favor signify aye and nay.
CMAC. Vote your feelings.
Wissenbeck, nay.
Parkwood, nay.
Wells, absolutely.
That's an option?
Yes, you got the yes out.
Hilton, yes.
There you go.
Regal eye.
Strauss eye.
Okay.
It's a hard one to swallow, folks, and I agree with you. I understand.
What was it? What
But
was
sometimes
the,
we have to do what the town wants us
What was
to.
the ayes and the nays? What's the, total?
2 nays,
It's 2 nays,
Two
myself and Vicky.
2 nays
Were
and
you a nay or a yay?
He was a yay.
I just wanna say,
Yay.
5
A
nays.
delayed, Jim.
I just wanna
So that
say,
passes.
all these budgets, reviewing all these budgets, this is the first 2 no's.
This has always been a thing.
Oh, I know,
You
I'm just
that.
saying. That's it.
I agree, it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money and,
And I know we're contracted, I understand that, so I mean, we're.
oh yeah, we both do. We both want that battle. Alright, let's move on. See if we can wrap this thing up.
before midnight, you mean?
Alright, so please turn to page 21 to 22. And what I really want you to look at is page 22. You've got this spreadsheet, I sent it to you. Yours should be circled, right? Okay, so what you see is, underlined is 2024, the select board approved 705,000 for salaries. And on 21, you will see, and 22, you will see all the salaries that I track, year to year to year. Okay, so you'll see which ones are tracked. And in 2025, everything that we've approved and the select board approved is 602, 218 in salaries. And if you look at that sheets and you compare those, you will see where we went down. Like, obviously, we just talked about tonight, we went down, we dropped the transfer station employee from 4 to 3, so we lost that pay. And then we
You're
ended.
welcome.
And we also changed some other things too, but if you look
Yeah, he
down
was
through
making
each
$103,000,
one,
so I mean, that was good that we
That was
done.
before tax.
we don't pay the website salary anymore. You know, so you can go down here and look at that,
Drop the assessing.
but that's probably one of the reasons that you're seeing why the why the overall increase of the operating budget is about 31 cents. Because overall, the tracked amounts, even though we've increased, it's still,
So you're saying the board of selectmen did a good job?
no, I'm saying it's lucky some people said no.
Did you hesitate for a second?
Can't get it out of them, can you?
When you retire, you should work at home.
All right, so I give you the spreadsheet, everybody,
Thank
you
you.
can see where that is, where we track and how things will work, so you can manipulate that, double check me. That's my tracking of it. Obviously, I'm getting older and I make mistakes, so I appreciate anybody pointing out anything that can make it better. Now, I'll remind you, next meeting is gonna be with the nonprofits. So right now, I have,
This will be your first time.
Is that in
Right.
December? December
Yeah,
fourth or
it'll be
something?
one-
December
yeah.
3rd.
very rare, but it will be my first time, thank you.
December third is next.
So now what you have is,
It's not
we've got
mine.
4 nonprofits have already signed up that wanna come in for presentations. So I'll be booking them, and you'll see that on the next agenda that I sent out. We know, as usual, even though I sent emails out to them again and said, please email me back so I can schedule you, we're gonna have 2 or
Walk-ins.
3 walk-ins, as always. But
And do we have to, do we have to?
Yes, we are.
we will.
What time does that meeting start and usually how long does it take?
Meeting start at 6 o'clock like always.
Okay.
We actually start at 6:10 with the first one, and I allow 10 minutes for a presentation and questions.
Usually what
It
I,
usually lasts about 3 hours like this?
no, 2 hours.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it's usually our most contentious, because after,
I'm asking, I don't know.
hold on, after we do the nonprofits, is when we get into your rating sheets and the analysis sheet. We define how much of the percentage of the operating budget that we wanna assign to it, or we wanna level it from last year's. And then we decide how much we wanna distribute, cause we've redone the analysis sheet per Scott's change. So there are gonna be some numbers different. I will be sending out my sheets to you guys to take a look. But you have all those, so you can adjust those as you need, add anything in, and that's where the debate will start, Cody. And that's usually where it takes time. And if you're out of here by 8:30, I will be surprised.
I'm fine, I just.
No, just so you know, I will be
I am
surprised.
patient, okay? I found out 2 weeks ago that I'm gonna be a grandfather twice over,
Oh, nice.
so I can handle
Oh,
patience.
awesome, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Both kids.
Both freaking kids.
Okay.
This is being recorded still.
Yeah,
And it's
I
public.
met every word.
Goran Romanovich is our public. So I'm reminding you, please go over your sheets, do your analysis, bring your questions, bring the packages, and that's for the select board too, because you're in with us. So we'll debate like we did last time.
We do the first vote, and then you guys.
Yeah, we'll debate on the amounts and all that stuff, whether we agree, then you guys will do your vote, we'll do our vote, and we'll go down through. This is after we get through all the presentations.
Is there a pizza budget?
So please bring your stuff with you next meeting, okay?
We're all together.
No draft warrants right yet. Latest budget to actual, everybody has this package in front of you, issues to resolve. I didn't hear anybody give me any additional since I sent it out. And
Right.
if you go on page 2 of this,
What,
everybody there?
5.
I mean,
Page 5?
Oh,
I got 154.
oh, it's, yeah, I just got one.
Yeah, we only got one.
Hey, we're hired to do numbers, what's wrong with this picture?
You got a full,
The last page got stapled in where,
I have
so the
one,
back of the front page,
I have 1, 5, and
the
4.
back of the front
we
page.
don't have that.
I don't have any.
We don't, we have nothing.
Oh, you guys don't have that?
No, I didn't.
No,
What do you got?
Nothing. It's
Nothing.
back in the front page.
The second.
Front of the front page.
It didn't,
We're missing 2,
it didn't print out.
right, we're
Didn't
missing
we just give her a raise?
2 and 3.
We
Not
obviously
anymore.
didn't print. All right, let me just go over these with you just so quickly.
Missing
Okay?
2 and 3.
Oh, jeez.
Just because we have to. So the only one that we had added was, we added a 4130 telephone. The phone was at 92. Michelle,
working on.
I'm working off that sheet that I sent to you. It just didn't print off right. Working off mine.
Imagine you have an
Just
invisible
sit there and
friend.
listen.
I'm just gonna let you know what Michelle's
Who do you
working.
think you're talking to?
That's what I'm doing.
So the only thing we said on telephone is that we moved it to 4194. Michelle's taking care of that. We'll take care of that on the next one. And the dog tags, we had that as a highlight that we needed increase. We did that with Alan. So that's all taken care of. We'll make sure that gets in there. And we had outstanding that the tax collector postage the tax bills needed to be increased, we took care of that on the last one. I'll make sure that gets into the budget to actual, the way it should, because we did increase it on his budget sheet. And payroll, Michelle changes to full-time, so the payroll, we couldn't change it right now. It's a hard thing to go back and adjust because of QuickBooks, because of FICA and retirement. It was a small amount of 4155 that was still showing on the budget to actual. That's gonna be deleted off at the end of the year, but we can't control that right now, so we won't be able to remove that and put it in the correct place. And then on the last thing that I had on the ones that I sent to you was, we're still working on fixing some 7,000 grant line items, myself, Chuck, and Michelle. So, not a whole bunch, but I didn't get anything from anybody else, but just so you know, we got a couple outstanding things we just need to make sure we get done on the budget to actual, because we wanna close that out for the end of the year.
Right.
She usually closes the books about 10 days into January to say that we're done, and then we start the new books for the new year. So I wanna make sure everything is taken care of prior to that, hopefully this month, early next month, we get everything, anything that we have for questions straightened out before we close the books for the year.
He's laughing at me, 'cause I'm,
Chris looks like he's just
David, have a
ready for
question?
bed.
I'm done. I
Dave,
came from the
can
hospital
I ask,
to be here.
They didn't keep you?
can I ask a question?
Yeah,
On these grants here, Chuck, is that the one that you were saying that you're doing the
I can't see
spreadsheet?
that.
I know that you're not down with the new.
There's a couple entries on there, like the 20,
Two,
I think it's
2022.
2021 LTIP, the 49,000, 48,000.
Right,
That actually should be zero, but Michelle's gonna work with the town auditor to figure
Right.
out how to zero that, because we've proven to the town auditor that actually there was a credit that there was an overpayment to the town of $3,100. So that should be zeroed out, even though they still show numbers there.
right,
It's gonna require an adjusting entry from the town auditor to do that.
okay,
And there's one other item with the 2022 Moose Plate grant, the money came in, it's in the general fund, it doesn't show up on there yet.
yeah, that stuff I'll be meeting with her tomorrow to try and correct.
But, yeah.
that's that
Tracking
spreadsheet
everything.
that you're tracking, it's still on
Right, so
that
the-
spreadsheet.
The original grant is closed. The 2021 Moose Plate is closed. I'm working on the final closure of the 2022 Moose Plate right now.
Has that been spent, that Moose Grant, the 2022 Moose Grant Tower,
I don't know if we've got the check in yet, we're supposed to, the check.
2022?
2022 was supposed to have come in sometime in the last week or two, I haven't talked to Michelle, to get the check yet.
So we did spend $20,000 though, right?
Oh, yeah,
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 Right there.
it's all done,
yeah,
it's all done. So it's all tracked, it's all tracked on the master sheet that I've got.
Right,
And the
yeah, I was
sheet-
just wondering if that was, that
Yeah, so
whole
the
thing
sheet
was
we put
over
together,
that.
I actually worked with the town auditor.
Mm-hmm.
I had him review what I had done, he made some suggestions for improvements on it, which we incorporated.
Uh-huh.
And Dave and I have actually kind of tweaked it a little bit to make it even a little bit more friendly. It's complicated, but it's thorough, and I'm adding memo notes to just about every entry. So somebody needs to go back 3 years from now and say, what was that one entry and why? Click the note. and then
Perfect.
entries.
Cool.
yeah, so me and Chuck are
I
working,
wasn't planning on doing an accounting program with the audit, I mean, with the grants, but we're,
Yeah, but unfortunately,
so there are a few outstanding things on the budget to actual, you'll see that on the one I sent you, sorry about the copies came out wrong, but starting to print so many, I mean, you check one and the one I had came out good, but the machine didn't spit out the other ones good.
uh-huh,
But anyway, the one that you got sent in the emails is all
it's
correct.
all that.
So you'll see what's outstanding and we'll try to get those resolved at the end of the year. So the next meeting is scheduled for 12/3 with the nonprofits. Again, please remember to bring them. And anybody have anything else that they think that ought to be brought up prior to that meeting?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Hold on, I wanna see if there's anything else. Anybody have anything else?
Leo,
Go, Leo,
Nice,
and put in the
you
time.
already said it.
Make a motion to adjourn at
Yes, it is.
8:50.
We hope you've enjoyed the show.
8:53,
Whatever.
Okay, 8:53, and Corey, you second?
Cody seconded, but Corey.
Corey didn't,
Cody did, not Corey.
Not Corey. Are you sure?
all those in favor?
I,
Aye, thank you all.
it could be Steve, you know, usually
I was born,
everyone's.
I was born Jason.
Oh, see,
I was adopted.
that's just to confuse us.
I found out when I was 20.
As long as it wasn't Susan.